Welcome back, everyone, to the Esports World Cup in Paris. This is it. For the second year in a row, chess is on one of the main stages of the biggest gaming competition in the world. 7 thrilling weeks in Paris. And this week includes the last chance qualifier in chess. I am your host, International Master Anna Rudolph, and I'm thrilled to be here with Grandmaster David Howell to cover the action in the group stages of the qualifier. David, how are you feeling so far about the event and the groups that we have been witnessing?
Anna, I'm loving every moment. It's been so much fun. I have barely looked at any chess at all in the last few weeks, but it feels perfect that I'm jumping in here now, witnessing the speed, the ferocity with which the players are playing. High-stakes chess is just the best. Esports it brings out the best in players, and I'm loving every moment.
It certainly brings out the best in players, and the stakes could not be higher. We have dropped the numbers several times during the broadcast, and we're going to continue repeating this number because it's absolutely unheard of in chess. $1.5 million is the prize fund at the main event in chess at the Esports World Cup, and that is what our competitors, over 100 players, are trying to qualify for. This is the last chance qualifiers happening throughout 3 days in groups. We're gonna now start with Group B. We already have 4 qualifiers to the playoffs from Group A, but there's 4 groups in total, and then a final playoff the day after tomorrow. Only 5 spots to qualify, and over 100 players competing for it. David, when you see those numbers, the stakes, the participants, the atmosphere, what does it make you think of? And also, why are you not here, like in Paris, like as a competitor, please?
Oh, stop it, Anna. I've already had some friends pressuring me to play.
More pressure.
It has exactly. It has woken something up inside me just watching the players there. And I mean, on the plus side, it's so much fun. Like, it's a unique event. So much kind of at the end of the rainbow, that treasure pot, that $1.5 million, like you say, just so much on the line. On the other hand, it does look quite stressful. It's also fun to watch the games as a commentator, front row seats and all. So I can't complain. It's best of both worlds here, calling the shots with you. And yeah, this is just the beginning. Over the next couple of weeks, the chess is just going to get hotter and hotter, faster and faster, more and more fun.
More and more fun and hotter for sure in terms of the temperatures as well in Europe. But regardless of that, it is definitely a heat wave over the board because we are about to start round 1 of Group B. And again, we're going to have 30 players competing in a group where there's 7 rounds. So the players will play 7 games with a time control of 10 minutes no increment. You run out of time, you lose the game, huge pressure both on the clock and with the stakes being $1.5 million overall, it could be the biggest career-making moment of any of the qualifying players. We will now soon head over to our arena, and I cannot wait to see our Group B, because Group A, we have seen some players in really good shape. They are already through to the playoffs, but Group B is just about to get started. Anyone still is with the same amount of chances for the qualification as anyone else.
Exactly, and if Group A was anything to go by, there will be some surprises along the way. We did see 4 super strong Grandmasters end up qualifying from Group A, so I wouldn't be shocked if eventually over the course of the 7 rounds, the top seeds start to gravitate towards those qualification spots. But it feels like we saw almost some big breakthroughs from some younger players. We saw a 13-year-old almost take down Bortnik, who ended up qualifying in Group A. I would love to see a surprise story in this next group.
It would be incredible, and definitely that round with our 13-year-old French player, we will hear a lot more of El Zayin. He is only 13, and he nearly took down a Grandmaster that then ends up qualifying to the playoffs. Very, very strong, and one of our top favorites in terms of the last chance qualifier, Alexander Bortnik. What a game that was, and how it shows that in chess, even if you're hundreds of rating points behind, you might have that one moment in life when you will be taking down these giants. And that was nearly the case for our 13-year-old participant. In Group B, there will be some really big names and also some not that known names that could be the underdogs for this event, playing to earn their keys to the main event in chess. $1.5 million at stake, and this could be the key to their main success in life. If they make it, it could be the biggest paycheck in their careers.
Exactly. It's all about getting a key, getting into the main draw, changing their destinies. But yeah, most of all, I'm just looking forward to getting to know some new players as well. We've got a lot of French players who've been making the short trip to Paris, who are chancing their luck to try and join the likes of Alireza Firouzja in that main draw. And it's really nice to see how much it means. And yeah, there's a lot of familiar names, a lot of new names. And wow, one name I know very well, Malcolm Payne, English international master, many-time captain of the England team. He's the head of international chess at the English Chess Federation. He's a legend in British chess circles. Nice to see him, one of the elder statesmen, I think he himself would say, in this field. I'm not sure he's going to be the fastest on the mouse, Anna. He's a good friend, so I'm hoping he lets me tease him a bit. But nice to see Malcolm making the journey over from London.
It's absolutely amazing to see, indeed. And we have already been following the game of one of the youngest participants, our 13-year-old prodigy from France. And now, as you mentioned, Malcolm Payne could be one of the older participants. Hopefully he doesn't mind that we say so, but that is also unique, and it's so special. I feel that he makes the trip to an esports event. You know, he wouldn't be one who grew up playing chess online. He would be like me, that, you know, I'm more used to touching the piece, moving it on a physical board. I don't know how to make chess moves with a mouse. I hope Malcolm knows it.
He definitely does. He's a pioneer, Malcolm. He's been running a chess shop in London for many, many years. It's just moved location, but not just chess and bridge and other board games. And yeah, he's 65 now, for anyone wondering. That's why we mentioned it's a real clash of generations here. And yeah, I think deep down, a lot of players of his own generation will be rooting for Malcolm. We'll talk about the pairings, who else is in Group B shortly. But yeah, this is going to be a fun game to watch. And Malcolm as well, a busy man. He's going to be campaigning to be vice president of FIDE. He's got a busy few months ahead. Elections, the Olympiad. He's a man of many talents. Spins more plates than anyone else I know, Anna.
I wonder if it's part of his campaign then, you know, to become an esports champion, because that would really push the campaign, wouldn't it? If you manage to make it to the main event at the Esports World Cup and challenge Magnus Carlsen, that's a headline story.
I love it, Anna. That accidental pun. The pain campaign. He's on the campaign trail.
Campaign. Well, I didn't even realize that I'm a pun genius like you. Surely.
Malcolm Payne. Will he exert some pain on his opponent, or will the pain be inflicted on himself? We'll find out. Malcolm's a very classical player. I think speed is going to be his biggest issue here.
Speed will definitely matter, and as we can see, his opponent is at least a couple of years younger. I was going to say at least a few years younger.
And the games will start any moment now. And I'm not sure exactly how young Steven Schuffart is, but yeah, definitely different generations. Malcolm's son I also saw in the mix. I'm not sure he's in the same group. He might be in a different group, but Jonathan Payne is also trying to qualify for the Esports World Cup. I think a FIDE master. Malcolm is an international master. So he'll be in the mix, maybe not among the favorites, but the games are off. And it looks like a reverse Caro-Kann almost, Anna, until this last move. And White takes the center. Malcolm doesn't rely on openings these days. He tries to keep the game a bit offbeat. Looks like a Ponziani opening almost, as the center opens up.
The center is opening up, and I'm just admiring Malcolm's t-shirt. I'm glad he's playing in Group B, because his t-shirt is definitely not making him a morning person.
Yeah, I think all chess players are nocturnal in their own way. Malcolm, I know him very well. I don't think he likes mornings, as most chess players don't. We have to peak at the right times, right, Anna? Like often games start in the afternoon. Here he's starting at 4 p.m., 4 o'clock in the afternoon, French time. He's going to be trying to peak as the day goes on. You don't want to peak at 6 a.m. in the morning. You'll be drained by the time these games kick off.
That is very true, that chess players optimize everything they can, including their daily routine, and when their brain is at the most and highest capacity and power. And this oftentimes means the afternoon at tournaments. We see this peculiar opening. I think, David, you'll be able to explain it better. How is it that black's pawns are disappearing from the middle of the board?
Yeah, and unfortunately we haven't been able to find out so much about Steven Schuffart, his opponent here, Malcolm Payne. I just want to backtrack. Black is currently 2 pawns down, but more importantly, a knight down. And I blinked and I missed it, I must confess. He's keeping the queens on. That's the only way to try and fight on and struggle to keep this game alive. Just to backtrack a few moves in this position, instead of playing knight takes pawn, which would have kept the game within reasonable bounds, knight to g4 was a loss of a piece, simply forgetting that the knight was undefended. Malcolm's queen came out, snapped that piece off. Maybe this was Steven's idea to discover, attack the queen, but Malcolm is too experienced a customer to spot that his queen, to not spot that his queen is hanging. He drops it back, and that's where we are. Anna, it looks like, unfortunately, a queen blunder as well, due to a pin there, and everything's falling apart. Steven is not going to be winning this game, and Malcolm getting off to a good start.
Good start for Malcolm, and a difficult start for Steven, but it's also a lot of times the case in Swiss format in chess that you are paired against an opponent that has a lot more experience or a lot higher rating at the first round. In Swiss tournaments or the Swiss format means that there's usually quite a big gap between the players, and that's what we see here. A very experienced international master that Malcolm Payne is facing a somewhat newer face in the chess scene, Steven Schuffart, who will definitely have a lot of learning experience from this event. And this is just the first round. Even for Steven, he will still have 6 more rounds to go where he can make up for this not so smooth start. He blundered first the knight and then the queen. These are tactical patterns that are important in chess, but maybe he also is not a morning person and he's still waking up.
Exactly. And yeah, it's all gone wrong now. Rook is dropping off in the corner. Malcolm can take that. He doesn't need to take it, of course. The black king could be the first target. White's bishop can come out. There we go with a check. And yeah, this is a very difficult storm for the black king to weather. I'm looking at Steven's online chess profile, his chess.com profile. He has been semi-active, I'm going to say. Plays a few games here and there, but yeah, just not as experienced as Malcolm. And It's funny, the queen forked the king and rook on one side of the board, didn't take the rook in the corner. Now the queen's forking the king and other rook on the other side of the board. Maybe this one he will take, Anna.
I think that one he will. He had the luxury of being able to pick which rook to win. The queen will grab the rook in next move. And then it's, oh, no, Malcolm says, I don't even need your rook. What I'm playing for is checkmate. And by moving the knight away, my rook is ready to come into action. Maybe castling queenside. And that's exactly what a checkmate. Castling to checkmate your opponent. And a smile from Stephen.
Wow, that is once in a lifetime type of stuff. He should buy a lottery ticket, Malcolm. Castling queenside to deliver checkmate. Some words for the camera there. That you wait a whole career and you never get that on the board, but there, Malcolm, getting the job done as quickly as he could.
I love the reaction of Stephen as well. Just such a good sport. He got checkmated. He lost his queen. He got checkmated in the middle of the board. But you don't see this often, that castling is the move that delivers checkmate. Even delivering check with castling is quite rare, but the fact that it was checkmate, I feel like Stephen moved the rook to where he moved it on his final move in order to be able to allow this in a way, appreciating the beauty of this incredible move. White castling, and that move that puts your king into safety is the one that exposes your opponent's king to checkmate. Wow.
Exactly. That's kind of the supreme of multitasking, like getting your own king safe while killing the opponent's king. And 17 moves. That is the definition of a miniature. Anna, Malcolm, off to a fast start. I think we'll see more of him as Group B progresses.
Definitely, and it's great to see that Malcolm, being from one of the older generations participating at the Esports World Cup, he starts with an incredible win that you could say that he was, of course, the higher rated, more experienced player in this matchup, but that was very smooth, and it will definitely give Malcolm that moral boost as well that you need at high stakes events like this.
Exactly. There'll be stronger opposition up ahead. Malcolm will be facing Grandmasters most likely in his quest to get top 4. So we'll see how that goes. And an active replay of the final stages. The Black Rook moves in a second. The Black King has no escape squares, and Malcolm had pre-moved this one. He was already good at castle. There we go. Boom. Checkmate. And that is a picturesque finish. And there we see the arena, the playing hall, Anna, where we'll get to know the other Group B participants a bit later.
We will get to know them soon. This is the STC Contenders Arena hosting the Last Chance qualifier, and the gesture from Stephen. What can you do? You get checkmated by your opponent castling, and that rook move of Stephen taking away the one final square where the Black King could have escaped to. I think that was a really nice gesture. Sometimes it is really about the beauty and the art of chess in this sense. It's a sport, it's a game, but today it also showed how beautiful it can be, and that's a moment that I think they will both remember for the rest of their careers.
Exactly. I know Malcolm's a big advocate, big supporter of speed chess and just modernizing chess, and a good start for him. I will point out, Anna, Group B, which is currently ongoing, it's one of, I think it's going to be one of the hardest groups. I'm not going to call it the group of death yet, but there's so many strong grandmasters. So many big names in Group B.
I also have been glancing upon the player list. Every round we will feature, of course, a different game and different players. But, just to name drop maybe for those of you who are following chess streams, perhaps I think one of the names that definitely will stand out to a lot of the viewers is Eric Hansen from the Chess Bros, possibly also streaming it while playing. At least I feel like at least he definitely has a fan group around him on site in Paris, and maybe a watch party following his games, because this is a big moment for Eric. We know him, of course, as the OG Chess Bro. He was one of the first chess streamers in the world before chess was even ever on YouTube or Twitch. Now, of course, it's everywhere and it's cool and everyone talks about chess, the Queen's Gambit, the Esports World Cup. It is a very different scene, but Eric was streaming chess when it was nowhere, no visibility, no one really interested on platforms like YouTube and Twitch in chess. And look where he is now. He's still streaming, but he might want to qualify to the main event to fight for the $1.5 million prize fund.
Exactly. Eric Hansen, a big fan favorite. There's also some top elite grandmasters, Parham Maghsoodloo of Iran. There's Daniel Dubov, former world rapid champion, someone known for his fiery games. There's not just Malcolm bringing the experience. There's Luc Van Welly, a multiple-time Dutch champion. And yeah, we'll get to know these players more as the day goes on. But yeah, this is, I mean, hard to pick a favorite, Anna. I think the Group A, there were maybe 5-6 names that the 4 were most likely to come from. Here it could be anyone.
It could be anyone. I just keep looking at the list too, and I feel like there's a lot of heavy favorites and fan favorites, and also a lot of players with potential, the young prodigies, the underdogs that you might not have heard of, but they specialize more in online chess and in speed chess. So there's going to be a lot of fight for the top 4 spots in Group B. We will be covering the next 6 rounds as well. We're going to take a short break now, but when we are back, this is Group B of the Last Chance qualifier in Paris at the Esports World Cup. Everyone wants to qualify to the main event in chess because it's $1.5 million at stake there, and Magnus Carlsen, the defending champion, is waiting as the final boss. So a lot at stake, high pressure, but this is why we love this event. We will be back on the other side of this break to break down round 2 of Group B here at the Last Chance qualifier in Paris.
He can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing. Let's go!
Tyler Wine, you're done.
This is my ladder. You can't climb it.
It's better than being hard suck at Masters.
You're going too far now.
Your eyes buggy. Your elbows ashy.
That airline? That's an L airline.
Somebody better hold me.
Okay, yeah. Do something then.
Raw energy. Half from blow the house down.
You look nervous.
You look short.
Everything's good?
Mm-hmm.
Fight.
Okay.
Do you really need the wraps?
Yeah, that feels like overkill to me.
Welcome back, everyone, to the broadcast of the Esports World Cup in Paris. This is the last chance qualifier in chess for the next 3 days, including today. We are seeing over 100 participants fighting for 5 qualification spots to the main event in chess. $1.5 million is at stake at the main event in chess at the Esports World Cup. The stakes could not be higher, David, and we are here to cover now Group B of the last chance qualifier, heading to round 2 already.
Yeah, we're heading to round 2, but I can safely say, Anna, I've commentated so many years now, I've never seen anyone end a game with castles, especially queenside, checkmate. That was a rarity. I'm going to put that in my memory bank and say, okay, I've seen it all now.
That was such an incredible moment. Round 1, international master Malcolm Payne winning with castling queenside checkmate on the board. Unique moment both for him and his opponent, who was really good sport and just acknowledged it with a big smile on his face. But now we're on to round 2 with a new featured game. This time 2 grandmasters battling it out against each other. Daniel Dubov will be facing Luca Moroni, and we see both players getting ready here for this crucial round 2. I feel like, David, you're right that Group B is quite a tough one. In round 2 already, 2 of the favorites are seeing each other.
Exactly. Group B is stacked. Daniel Dubov, we see on the left there, with his Team Spirit jersey. He's already a bit of a cult hero, a bit of a legend. He's won the World Rapid Championship. He's famous for sparkling attacking games. Luca Moroni, still young, but he's been representing Italy in international events for years and years already. Very dangerous opponent, can beat anyone on his day. Well over 3,000 rating on chess.com. So yeah, this is not going to be easy for either of them, Anna. We talked about maybe 5.5, 6 being the magic score in Group A to qualify. Yeah, we could see blood spilled as early as round 2 here in Group B.
It could very well be the case, because one of these players at least will not continue on a 100% score after facing each other in the second round. Will either of them prevail and get the full point, which would be huge for their chances for the qualification spots? And if it's a draw, how will they fare later on in the remaining rounds? This is definitely a key matchup for the overall standings. It's a very early stage of the tournament, round 2 out of 7 rounds. But these 2 players could very well be both qualifying or having qualification chances overall.
Indeed, and in the meantime, a Queen's Gambit declined, and this is quite a rare variation. It's come into fashion a little bit lately, but black pushing a pawn forward, non-committal, very flexible, hoping to at some point capture the gambited Queen's Gambit pawn, but Daniel Dubov trades off some bishops, brings his knight out. Very solid start to this game for both sides. And I don't know who a quieter game would favor here, Anna, because Luca Moroni is quite dynamic, but Dubov is a very fiery player. Yeah, I thought we'd see maybe something even more direct, even more complicated from the start, but no, it looks like both players just want to play themselves into form.
It really seems to be the case. A very solid start, and everything is still very flexible. It would be quite a peaceful start, but I'm also expecting the game to start developing in a more exciting fashion. I don't think that these 2 players are known for being boring players. I'm expecting that they both will be trying their best here to create something, because you do want to get winning chances against anyone and everyone. Doesn't matter the round, doesn't matter the color. It is an event where every single point has so much weight that you want to try your best in every game, and you might want to take bigger risks in order to get a bigger reward. That is the qualification to the main event, and $1.5 million is a prize fund.
Exactly, and I can tell you, if especially Daniel Dubov, if he makes it through to the main event, nobody wants to face him. I think he's one of the few who's beaten Magnus so many times at speed chess that you know, that aura that Magnus normally has isn't there anymore. He's been a second for Magnus Carlsen, a coach, helper, you name it. he's going for the hanging pawns now as well. Maybe easier for white to play. Black's pawns, with great space comes great responsibility, as they say, Anna, and you need to defend them somehow. White's knight is also maybe going to the edge of the board if it needs to kick away this bishop.
It's a very multi-purpose move in that sense, putting pressure on the pawns, and the knight maneuver you highlighted will be quite annoying for black to face. The evaluation board is only showing a slight advantage for white, but I think in terms of the practical chances, Daniel Dubov definitely has the better chances here, and also putting the psychological pressure on his opponent that he has to play really precisely to not get into trouble here.
Exactly. I have noticed there's been a shift in Dubov's play just over the last maybe year or two. He's been playing a lot more solid, at least from the start. He'll only attack if the opponent kind of really provokes him, rather than his younger days where he would attack from move one. But yeah, still super strong, of course. He went on a long unbeaten streak recently. So a hard player to beat. And I don't really see white ever being in danger here. Ooh, big mistake in the meantime for black, as Moroni offers up this pawn. He's going to try and grab a pawn himself with the black queen, but there might be some tactics. Anna, he's gone wrong, Moroni.
He's gone wrong, and Daniel Dubov is so confident that he immediately grabs the pawn, and I think he knows the follow-up too. He's probably just double-checking his calculation, but he went for it so quickly that I'm very certain that Dubov senses that this is a big chance for him for the full point. He's got now a winning opportunity, at least to have a significant advantage if he finds the right follow-up here.
And only one move, Anna, I was going to say, and this is it. This is the move from a new angle, unexpected twist. That bishop looked really nicely placed anyway, but it's even better now. The black rook is forced to move, and Moroni's blundered. He knows it. His body language tells the whole story. The problem is if the black rook moves to continue defending its knight, that is not a safe square, and there's going to be all sorts of pins along this open line. Just can't keep the stability, the rook, the knight, everything connected.
Wow, this is a huge mistake on a grandmaster level, but also it was quite a sneaky move. The sniper from the distance, the bishop on h3, hitting the rook, and once you move the rook, you can only move it to c7 to continue defending the knight, but then it's a pin where your rook is loose and there will be pressure over the knight on c6.
Yeah, this is a guaranteed material advantage now for Daniel Dubov. It's just about how Moroni can fight on, how he can lessen the damage. Does he actually move his rook, or does he leave it in place? That is the target right now. And I don't see what he can do. I think he's losing either the rook, or he might even lose the knight.
Big trouble for the Italian grandmaster here with the black faces. This is only round 2, but these two grandmasters could very well be some of the top favorites in Group B to fight for the qualification spots. And that was spotted so quickly by Dubov. The moment Moroni blundered, Dubov didn't even pause for a second. He knew that this sequence is winning, or at least giving him a really big advantage.
Wow, and although round 1 we saw Malcolm Payne win in 17 moves, that was very kind of spectacular, that finish, very brutal. This is a 17-move winning position from Dubov, totally different style. Slow start, the opponent makes a mistake, and boom, he takes his chance. But we're going to find out, Anna, exactly how he aims to win this pinned piece. He's got to put pressure on the pinned piece that night, but how to do it? One of these should drop off.
How to do it indeed is now the question on Dubov's side, and I think he'll take here a bit of a longer pause because he knows how critical this decision is to exploit the pin in the right way, and it could give him that very much needed win, or the start of a winning streak in a tournament like this, where every single half a point matters, and you might need nearly 100% score in order to qualify in your group. So there's so many ways in which he'll be looking at this and how to raise the pressure in terms of, do you target that knight with, for instance, the queen also coming out and attacking the knight, or can you somehow use your knight in a way? It looks like the queen move to me, to my international master eyes, the queen move is like, okay, like I can see that works, but with the knight move, for instance, there's a bit more to cover because the black queen is also guarding some of the squares, and yet it's a pin on the c5, so certainly a lot to calculate, and Dubov chooses to trade queens instead.
Yeah, I mean, that was a grandmasterly move. I think just attacking the knight, that would also have done the job. But he wants to kind of bank it. He wants to just secure his advantage, say, okay, it's safe. Queen's coming off. The black queen doesn't have many options. She can take a pawn. But I think that would just allow white to continue adding the pressure with the rook. Or maybe the queen gets trapped. Hold on. Maybe just the rook sliding across. The queen has no more squares. So if the queens come off, Anna, then what's going to stop white from just slowly doubling up, winning that piece?
That is such an incredibly strong move now that you explain all the details and how the pawn of white is untouchable, and in case of a trade, there is no way out of the pin for black. This is big trouble for Luca Moroni.
He knows it. I mean, that body language, he's trying to lock in. He's trying to say, okay, there must be one way to keep the fight alive, but at this level, like you said, especially with such reduced material, no counterplay, no attack against the white king. At this level, being the exchange down, a rook for knight or rook for bishop or whatever black decides to kind of part with, whatever material, it's almost hopeless. And Dubov, yeah, that's typical Dubov pose. Super chill. Win, lose, draw, super chill.
Always chill, and that's something that we could all learn from. You know, chess is a game at the end of the day, but you hear the crowds cheering because this is a game that's played at the highest level at the Esports World Cup. This is a venue in Paris, the Expo Center, full of incredible fights and high-stakes competitions. The atmosphere is absolutely on fire, and the stakes could not be higher at chess as well, with $1.5 million at the main event. That's where the players are trying to get their keys to. They want to qualify. And Daniel Dubov, for Team Spirit, looking really good at the moment. It's still an early stage of Group B, but if he wins this game, he'll certainly be one of the few on still a perfect score, 2 out of 2.
Yeah, and you feel better doing that 2 out of 2 when you know that you've beaten another grandmaster along the way already. And the question is whether white even tries to win the black queen. I think Moroni is relying on some tactics, maybe the knight jumping forward. White is totally winning come the end of it when the dust settles, but maybe there's something even better. What is Dubov considering here? No, he just gets the queen. Moroni is going to try one last trick maybe, but he's going to be a piece down, I think, once the dust settles. He's got to try something crazy. His queen is trapped.
His queen is trapped, and he is counting on this tactical pattern, counter-attacking the white queen. And this is just launching absolute chaos. So many pieces are hanging, the queens, the rooks.
Yeah, the queen is gone now. Black has one rook in return. Is about to get a second rook. But unfortunately, the white king can just take this knight now. And that should be good knight. White has an extra bishop. The queen balances out the 2 rooks. Pawn count irrelevant. And still some work to be done, but should be winning for Dubov.
Should be winning indeed. He steps out of the check, and there would be a follow-up check now on the back rank with the other rook if black wants to, but the white king will hide safely on the g2 square, and then there's no further checks. The situation is that you have a queen and a bishop fighting against 2 rooks.
Yeah. A queen versus 2 rooks tends to be like 50-50 almost in most kind of scenarios, but with a bishop in the fray, that's just too much. And I think, unfortunately for Moroni, there's no way to build a fortress, to keep everything protected, to trade off all the pawns and just say, okay, I'm going to sit here and make a draw. Unfortunately, all of his pawns are on light squares, and it's a light squared bishop. It's not going to be able to save all those pawns long term.
It's not going to be able to save them indeed. And we see one of the players or fans that is witnessing the game, spectating from the best seat in the playing hall. I thought we had the best seats, David, but some of the participants get even closer to the action.
I'm pretty comfy here, Anna. I'm pretty cozy here. We get to see all the games. We get to chill. We get to chat while the games are going on. They're not allowed to do that right next to the players. The fans nearby cheering. You know, I can't wait for the kind of Magnus Carlsen versus Hikaru Nakamura battles when, Team Liquid versus Team Falcons, crowd going wild just like they did last year. That's going to be fun. But yeah, for now, it's a quieter atmosphere.
This is the calm before the storm, because that's where our players are heading. Everyone in the last chance qualifiers trying to make it to that main event that you're talking about, David. The defending champion Magnus Carlsen will be sitting there as the final boss, but Team Falcon reps Hikaru Nakamura and Eliezer Firouzja are also in the main event, and so many other really strong grandmasters representing several clubs. And it matters so much for the club championship, matters so much for the prices at the chess event. As we said, $1.5 million. That is a lot of money. It's not really something that we are used to in the chess world as a prize fund.
Yeah, give me $500, let alone $1.5 million. That is, that is a generous prize fund. 7 figures, almost unheard of in chess. And now it's just about the killer blow in the meantime for Dubov. How does he land a punch on the black pieces, on the black king? Everything's undefended for black. The rooks, the king has so many squares around it. Often you want to kind of bring your knight back. There we go. And jump into some squares. Will he try and jump in? No, he goes back first. The queen is cutting across his beautiful diagonal. Any check will be checkmate if the white knight lands. But first he's going this way, Anna, and hard to keep that pawn protected now.
Extremely hard to keep that pawn protected, and as you said, once the knight enters, it is going to be game over with so many knight jumps, knight forks, and the black king is really vulnerable over the dark squares, especially with the pawns being on light squares. It is the dark squares around those pawns that are the entry squares toward the black king.
One rook defends the pawn. He could centralize his queen right now. There we go, the most logical move. Queen's beautiful in the center of the board. And, okay, it's all hanging by a thread. The rook is only defended by the knight. Can you just kick that knight now? Can you just attack that knight? Is that the end of resistance? I don't see defense.
It looks like it could be the final blow, chasing that centralized knight of black away. And then that's exactly what Dubov does. Luca Moroni resigns. What a game for Daniel Dubov, who goes on to 2 out of 2. And a bit of an exchange of words and comments about the game between the players. It's always great to see the analysis and also the friendly gestures. This is, after all, a game, a passion, a competition. But the players, after the game, they go back to, I would say, friends. In a lot of cases, friends, a lot of times teammates, colleagues, and they all have the same respect for chess.
Exactly. 2 fellow grandmasters. They've probably faced each other many times before. They've definitely known each other from the circuit, similar ages. And of course, it's not over for Luca Moroni, the Italian grandmaster. Still a long way. We've seen that before, Anna. Player fall to an early defeat and storm the way back. We saw that with Alexander Bortnik losing in round 3 in Group A. He came back and qualified. Still a long way to go.
Indeed, it can still happen. And in a Swiss format, which is what we have in the group stage, it's almost like it's easier to have less points. I'm not really saying that's the right strategy. It's going to be really hard for Luca Moroni. But for the next few rounds, he will supposedly have easier opponents, because in a Swiss format, you always face players with the same amount of points. So players on 2 out of 2, 3 out of 3, you're going to start facing the top of the top. While if you lose a game, you will be more in the midfield and you might get some easier opponents. Having said that, no game is guaranteed in speed chess. It's 10 minutes, no increment, and we have seen some really, really crucial moments and upsets. This was some of the final moments here in the game between Daniel Dubov and Luca Moroni, and that knight, chasing the knight away. You called it, David, that if white pushes the pawn, there is no way for black to continue, because the knight was guarding the rook as well, so even more pieces are falling off of the board. The players are still analyzing. You love to see it.
Yeah, you love to see it. Fantastic game there from Dubov. Extremely accurate as well. Played all the best moves. And he's going to be a hard one to stop in these last chance qualifiers. I think he might be one of the favorites to make it through to that main event. But in the meantime, the Swiss Gambit. That's what Moroni has to hope for. Easier path forward. Still 5 rounds to go in the group stage.
Definitely he will have easier pairings. But as we said, no one can really be counted out from contention. Even the underdogs here, what we saw in Group A, the youngest participant, 13-year-old French prodigy, almost upset Alexander Bortnik, who was one of the favorites and ends up qualifying in the end, but could have gone in the other direction to that game for the 13-year-old French player. We will hear a lot more about Bassam El Zain, I feel, and I think we're going to be looking for our Bassam El Zain in this field too. Maybe not the youngest participant in this case, but we have seen one of the oldest participants, Malcolm Payne, in round one, who is representing England, and he has played a game that is something to remember forever. Checkmate with a costling move.
Exactly. 65 is the new 18. He's a youngster at heart. He's going to be trying to mix it with these top grandmasters, and Malcolm Payne, yeah. The hopes of England rest upon him and another couple of players in Group B. All the English players seem to be grouped here, so I'm not going to be biased, Anna, but we might see them a bit later on.
We might see them for sure. And I'm curious how many players will remain on a 100% score after 2 rounds. It's still an early stage of the rounds, of the Group B rounds. But if you are on 2 out of 2, that's usually a good sign. And the more rounds we have, the less likely it is that players remain on a 100% score. What would be your guess, David? How many participants will remain on 100%? That is 2 out of 2.
Ooh, that's a tough question. I'm going to say there's not so many draws in the first couple of rounds when a lot of mismatches in rating. So I'm going to say the field halves. That's down from 30 to around 15, then another half. So I'm going to say 6 or 7, maybe. 6 or 7. Wow, 6 or 7. I think, yeah, that's a good. That's a good estimate, I would say. We will reveal the number shortly. We're going to take a short break, but when we are back, this is round 3 coming up next at the Last Chance Qualifier in Paris, the Esports World Cup, $1.5 million at stake in chess at the main event, and that's where the players are trying to qualify in this final event, a final qualification chance. We will take a short break, but when we are back, round 3 of Group B begins.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
He can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing but go!
Tyler Wine, you're done.
This is my ladder. You can't climb it.
It's better than being hard-sucking masters.
You're going too far now.
Your eyes buggy. Your elbows ashy.
Is that airline? That's an L airline.
Somebody better hold me.
Okay, yeah. Do something then.
Raw energy. Blow the house down.
You look nervous.
You look short.
Everything's good?
Mm-hmm.
Fight.
Okay.
Do you really need the wraps?
Yeah, that feels like overkill to me.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the last chance qualifier in chess at the Esports World Cup in Paris. We are now about to witness round 3 of Group B. But before we head there, let's just break down what's at stake. David, we have mentioned it so many times, but the players are here. Over 100 players are here to try to qualify for the 5 remaining spots of the main event at chess at the Esports World Cup. And there, the stakes could not be higher. $1.5 million is the prize fund at the main event. And the final boss, defending champion Magnus Carlsen, is waiting there as your final challenge. That's quite the, I guess, trajectory. If you qualify from here, then you make it to the play-ins, then you make it to facing Magnus, Hikaru, Alireza, and then maybe even have a chance to take some of them down. Would be a Cinderella story for sure.
Exactly, and there's a lot on the line. You mentioned the individual prizes there, the prize money. Also, a lot of these players are already attached to teams, so they have that extra kind of inspiration to do well, to represent, to try and get points on the board. And yeah, so much on the line, so many storylines. And another one is Parham Maghsoodloo, an Iranian grandmaster. He's currently on 100%, 2 out of 2. When I think of Maghsoodloo, I just think tactics, fire, energy, passion for chess, and speed specialist as well. Very confident player, Anna. He's going to be fun to watch.
Very confident player, and he's facing another speed specialist who we already talked about. His opponent is none other than the OG chess bra himself, Erik Hansen. Many of the viewers will be rooting for Erik. He's a fan favorite for sure from his streaming career. He was one of the very first chess streamers in the world before the Queen's Gambit, before the Esports World Cup. He was there before chess was cool, and now he's facing Maghsoodloo, and he's going to try to upset Maghsoodloo in order to have a chance to qualify to the main event of the Esports World Cup in chess.
Yeah, Erik, a classy customer. I've been confused for Erik a few times. People are often asking me, yeah, at an Olympiad, they were like, oh, I saw Canada won, good job. And I was like, well, thanks. But yeah, he's a classy player. His openings are very well worked out. It's a Nimzo Indian defense. Black pinning this white knight, and the question is whether later he does capture this knight, double the white pawns, or whether he just tries to challenge it in the center instead. Classical start to this game. I think Erik, the clock might be a bit of an issue for him. He tends to spend a lot of time and rely on seconds. But Anna, I know a lot of people would be happy if he does get a result here.
A lot of people would be happy. Yes, so many of the viewers are cheering for him. All the chess bra community supporting Erik Hansen. And Parham Maghsoodloo, of course, has plenty of fans himself. And he is still just such a rising star. I feel like we have seen him for so many years now. And yet, not long ago, he won the World Junior Championship. He's still like not in his prime, I would say. Who knows what's the upper limit for Parham Maghsoodloo when it comes to his career?
Yeah, still in his mid-20s. I remember first playing him at an Olympiad. I think it was 2016, 10 years ago. Wow, I feel old. But he was a teenager then. He was the hot new thing on the chess scene. And yeah, he's been kind of leveling up ever since. I agree. His peak is still to come. But yeah, it might all start here. He loves speed chess. He's one of the nicest guys as well. He won Title Tuesday a few months ago, one of the pathways to the Esports World Cup. He didn't make it overall, but that 1 week he won, and he was just saying such nice things about the whole format, about how much he wants to be here in Paris. And yeah, I think out of all of those who want it, he's probably among those who wants it the most. So we'll see how that goes as Erik trades off bishop for knight. Level position, but white has the bishop pair.
White has the bishop pair indeed, and Erik will try to compensate for it by putting pressure on some of those squares that are weaker and access them with his knights if he can. This is a very classical setup. It's no early surprises in this opening. We see the bishop retreating, so there would be no discovered attacks toward the bishop in case the black pawn was going to move away. And now, by pushing the pawn, black is ready to develop his bishop too and fianchetto it. We say fianchetto when you place the bishop on the long diagonal by pushing your pawn this way.
Yeah, and white does the same. Bishop on the long diagonal, although it does look quite blocked. So later Parham might be trying to push one pawn forward, lengthen that diagonal in the bishop's vision. Yeah, although the dark square bishop, it's unchallenged. Black's already parted with with his own dark square bishop. This one, it tends to be dormant for a long time, right, Anna? And then only later, when the board starts to clear, it comes to life and plays a bigger role. So I think we're in for a long game here.
We are certainly in for a long game, but I feel like that's what we said about the previous game we covered, and then suddenly Luca Moroni made a mistake. So I'm hoping we are not jinxing it for any of the players.
Yeah, commentator's curse, that's how it works, right? We say one thing, a second later, it all changes unexpectedly. But in the meantime, yeah, logical moves from both sides. Last two rounds, we've seen decisive advantages by move 17. We're at move 12 here. Seeing a blunder in the next 5 moves, I don't think it's going to happen. Surely not. Surely not.
You never know, especially with the mouse playing a part of these games as well. A mouse slip could happen, but I feel like you're right, David, that we are now heading toward the territory where the margin for the mistakes will be lower and lower. This is so far perfect chess by both players, two very strong grandmasters facing each other for a very high stakes qualification spot at the Esports World Cup. Both of them are still on 100% score, but one of them will have to ruin that beautiful streak. With this game, it's either going to be sharing the point with a draw and half a point for each, or one of them will continue with the winning streak and the other player will not be that happy.
Yeah, and
and Max Lu with a bit of a checking on the headphones. Maybe he didn't have them fully on, and he might have heard the audience. It's a venue packed with all the excitement of all the ongoing gaming events, the other competitions at the Esports World Cup, and he wants to just stay in the zone, so he adjusted his headphones.
Exactly. We've seen that before. That always happens, right? You need to feel like everything's perfect. You want conditions to be good. Sometimes you're busy thinking about chess, something drags you out of focus, and suddenly you think, okay, I have to adjust things to try and get my mind back in that zone. And I was just looking in the meantime, Anna, you asked me to predict earlier how many players would be on 100% after round 2. I said maybe 6, maybe 7. It was only 4. So there have been some draws along the way. These are 2 of the top 4 right now. If we ended things before this round, they'd be safe, they'd be done. But of course, they've got to face each other as a reward for winning their earlier games.
Only 4 players in a perfect score, meaning that it's a pair of matches. The one we are featuring, of course, is the main clash, and another game also featuring the 2 players on 2 points. So only 2 can remain on a perfect score, if at all. We will see if there will be any draws, or can any of the players leading right now continue with the winning streak. We see the pawn push by Erik Hansen in the center, and Max Lu meeting it very quickly with a queen move. You were right about the time management, that's going to be concerning for the Chess Bra streamer Erik Hansen, because it's already a lot of time spent on his side. 5.5 minutes remaining, started at 10, and it's still the opening phase or early middle game, and he has used nearly half of his time.
Yeah, I've watched Erik a lot in classical chess, blitz chess especially. He's a fantastic bullet player. So like when he's down to 1 minute, Anna, he's phenomenal. Maybe outside of the Hikarus and Alarezas, he's in that next bracket. But the problem is he's always playing bullet. It feels like classical, rapid blitz. He's always in big time trouble from an early stage, especially when he faces the top guys. Maybe it's a psychological thing. He spends a bit more time when he faces stronger opposition. Trusts his instincts slightly less, at least early on. But yeah, I think the fact that he's going to be low on time isn't the end of the world, because he can handle it. But yeah, it's a high-risk strategy. He's going to hope that by the time he gets down to 1 minute, he already has a good position.
That's what he hopes for, but he also certainly needs to take into account that there is no increment at the Esports World Cup. So while in other speed chess events, you would have at least maybe a 1 second increment, something to count on, something to bank on for the final seconds of the game, and you can continue living off of that increment. Here at the Esports World Cup, that does not exist. It's 10 minutes, no increment. You spend your 10 minutes, you lose the game. So for Eric, he really needs to start speeding up at some point. But as I'm saying it, we also see Maksud Lu slowing down and trying to match Eric's time management.
Yeah, it's because it's such a tense position, Anna. It's like there's so much, especially around these pawns in the center. White would love to push forward one pawn, open up that dark square bishop that we mentioned, but not possible yet. If you push this pawn forward, the other pawn falls. Black doesn't really want to trade off on white's terms, helping white to connect all the pawns, opening up some lines. So kind of both sides unable to open the position yet. Maksudlu here, he's like, okay, please just take me. Allow me to open up my bishops. But more likely, Eric's going to say no. Even at the cost of a pawn, you can just leave the tension. And yeah, this could explode any second. But I think until that point, the players will continue burning time.
Definitely. I'm expecting that this is the calm before the storm, and the position will start heating up, especially as the time is evaporating. Half of the time, as we said, on Eric Hansen's side is gone. He's down to his final 5 minutes, and this is still such a complex position, not the easiest way to proceed. I was looking at a rook move because you would like to bring that rook out of the corner, but maybe he is not making that natural move because it could also step into, for instance, bishop to a6, chasing that rook away immediately. And then you might say, why would I even place the rook there in the first place?
Yeah, and that's exactly the type of thought that's going through Eric's head right now. But he needs to maybe just trust himself a bit here. I mean, when in doubt, push the h-pawn, just throw that one down the board. That might come later. That's something that maybe Magnus would do, Alireza would do. I think he'll be reluctant to trade off, but yeah, maybe moving the rook is fine. Just he's got to weigh up whether it's annoying that piece might get hit. He just needs to move though, Eric. Down under 4 minutes now. We've only played 16 moves.
Only 16 moves and only 4 minutes remaining. That is going to be a huge time pressure on Eric Hansen, and he's still not making this decision. Again, it's a complex position, it's a complex middle game, but there aren't too many good options for Black here, and he really has to speed up with no increment. This is a big, very significant time advantage, nearly 3 full minutes already as a time advantage for Maksud Lu.
Yeah, and I've faced Maksud Lu many times. He's very good at changing the pace. There we go, h5. When in doubt, that always happens. It's just a modern trend. I could sense it. The eval bar didn't like it, so probably not objectively a good move, but it makes sense. It's logical. It supports a potential pawn avalanche. It maybe supports the knight coming forward and some threats on the king side. But Eric could have played that in 10 seconds. It took him 2 minutes. And yeah, now Maksud Lu advances. The white bishop's finally coming to life.
That's exactly what the bishops want and need to open up the position more. And the diagonal, once it opens up, it will be quite dangerous for the black king, with the bishop already slightly through the pawn targeting that black knight. So once the pawn is traded or is pushed, the knight would have been attacked. That's why Eric moves away and Maksud Lu immediately trades his bishop for the black knight.
He didn't want to have to touch any of the pawns in front of the white king. The black queen was threatening to swoop in, so removing the knight makes sense. Now, opposite color bishops. Anna, I think I prefer the white bishop currently to the black bishop, especially now it's got an open diagonal. But yeah, this one's still anyone's game. The black knight can come into the center now and try to jump into the enemy position.
It's anyone's game indeed when it comes to the position. The time management, though, it really has to be that Eric speeds up. He has pre-moved that capture. That's something that we will see a lot in these speed chess battles, and especially as the final minutes are approaching. Pre-move skills, mouse skills, and flagging skills matter a lot.
So much. And Maksud Lu, I think, wants to make it slow, positional. He knows that the longer this game goes on, the more likely it is that Eric gets in severe time trouble, now under 3 minutes. So there we go. He locks it up. It's a blocked center, so maybe long-term the knight better than the bishop. He wants to launch a minority attack, one pawn undermining 2 pawns. And yeah, small ideas, nothing big here, Anna, but the key parts of the game are still way ahead, and Eric's down to 2 minutes.
down to 2 minutes and 18 seconds. That's very little time to face 5 minutes on Maksudlu's side and a complex middle game where, as you said, Maksudlu is going for a slow position where you need to burn time, where you need to face these knight jumps, the knight maneuvering toward better squares. It could take several moves for that knight to get to a better location, but it doesn't matter that it takes so long when the position is closed.
Mm-hmm. And nice move as well, because black wanted to swing the rook across, go for this same checkmate that he threatened earlier, but the white knight just calmly defends against that. Evaluation bar, not so impressed, but we'll ignore that one for now. It's not anything too dramatic. Eric with a small objective advantage, but simply no time. And how's he going to end this game, Anna? I don't see it. Within 2 minutes, he needs to either get the queens off and go to an endgame, head that direction, or go for some big attack against the white king that takes ages to organize. It's going to be so difficult. 1 minute 40.
It's going to be incredibly difficult for Erik Hansen, even regardless of his very strong bullet skills. This is going to be a bullet game for him, but still a blitz game for Maksudlu, and there is no increment. So he has to finish the game, Erik Hansen, within the next minute and a half. That's all the time he has left. He runs out of time, he loses the game. That is how simple it is with our time format at the Esports World Cup.
Exactly. Great move, though, from Eric, this last move, locking things down and cementing a target. The white pawn now forever on a light square, and the bishop's going to hit that for the rest of the game. And yes, it comes at the cost of a backward pawn. Oh, whoops, if I clear that. That was not my intention. But yeah, in the meantime, the white knight is going to try and maneuver around to defend that weakness.
There was a slight shaking of a head by Erik Hansen, but I don't think it was for the move. It could have been for him seeing the time situation and the significant time lead of Maksudlu. Nearly 3 full minutes is what Maksudlu has as a time advantage. Equal position as the evaluation bar to the left side of the board is suggesting. Very close structure as well, but this is a position that you can play on forever and ever and try to make small improvements and put that severe time pressure on Eric, who only has 1 minute and 10 seconds left.
Yeah, this just looks so blocked that it should be a draw with best play. But, I mean, Maksudlu, he's going to lock it up completely, and then he's just going to play around. He's just going to put his king forward. He's going to move his rook to different squares. He's just going to do nothing for 50 moves. And by then, Eric has no time. So Eric has to force the pace. I love this last decision, at least from Eric. He's opened things up. At least now there are some immediate attacking ideas. Rook takes pawn is incoming. Maybe the black bishop at some point will be able to give some checks to the white king. Or the rook can line up. But yeah, this is what he needed to do, just ideally with a bit more time on the clock. Can Maksudlu hold the fort? Anna, like, this is so hard to predict. He could still go all 3 directions. Either side could win, could still be a draw. But yeah, it's so hard to look away from the clock.
Really difficult to not consider that the decisive factor here, since the position is balanced or even slightly better for black here. But Erik Hansen down to 1 minute and 7 seconds. Maksudlu still has about 3 minutes on the clock. And yes, Eric is finding some really important moves. The pushing of that pawn and trading on the king's side, on the right side of the board, was very important, and trying to simplify the position, force some trades and more direct variations, direct encounters between the pieces, not let it be a slow-paced maneuvering position that Maksudlu wanted.
And Maksudlu's slowed down. Eric looks like he's in boss mode, full focus right now, ready to blitz out his next few moves. At least now, suddenly, for the first time in ages, black's next moves might be a bit more obvious. He just wants to take this pawn. Ooh! Maksudlu gambling there. He's giving up a pawn just to get a square for his knight. Oh, Anna, I didn't expect that. And it comes with risk. Eric just ignores it.
Definitely with a big risk. He goes for it because he wants to put a lot of pressure on Eric and not make it for him simple to continue making good moves under 50 seconds. That's all that Erik Hansen has left. But now with a slightly better position, but no time on the clock, can he continue playing well in this endgame and not lose on time? 40 seconds left.
Oh, he could have maybe given up his rook there for a knight and then relied on counterplay on the other flank, pushing his pawn, trying to break through to the white king, but he just had no time to calculate. He goes defensive. I think a good move, but it cost him a bit too much time. And oh, now the tactics start. The white pawn is super strong. The rook will come behind soon, but Eric's going for counterplay. Gotta
He's
push.
trying to push now. I think that's what he's considering, but he's down to 27 seconds. Eric, you need to play the move now.
Oh, there's a huge threat. Anna, what about this one? Pawn's f4 check. Oh, the king had to get out of the way. The rook was hanging.
Goodness me, that was a brilliant move. That's why Eric could not push his pawn, but he notices the threat. He steps out of it. It cost him, though, several seconds. He's down to 18 seconds. That's all the time that he has left. He is so close to losing on time, and yet he's finding the best defensive moves here.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. That's what's so tough about this format. You play all the best moves. You have an equal or better position, but no time, and you get no chance. Magzoudlou, very professional, not rushing. He doesn't want to risk a blunder, allowing Eric to win the game on the spot or end things with a draw, for example. He's just going to try and keep control. Whoa, and a bunch of quick moves there. And yeah, he's just stopping Eric from doing anything active. This game's going to go on way beyond the 7 seconds that Eric has left. And oh, he leans back. He knows he's got no time. Black's king in a mating net as well. Watch out.
It's an amazing net, and we see a check. There certainly will be no repetition of moves. Magzoudlou is repeating once, but I don't think he will do it another time. He does not want to draw here. He makes a losing move.
Oh, Eric is now totally winning, but just no time on the clock. And he leans back. Eric Hansen runs out of time in a winning position. Magzoudlou, too quick when it came down to the last few moves there. He had it under control. He knew his match strategy, Anna. He knew he was playing for time.
He knew it, and Eric just cannot believe what has just happened. In the final moments of the game, he turned it into a winning position. Eric Hansen with a winning endgame on the board, but he ran out of time.
Yeah, it's so tough. I mentioned it before the round. That's his big weakness, Eric. Nowadays, at least, he's still such a strong player, world class on his day, can beat anyone. But the clock, that's his Achilles heel, and so it proved in this round. And Eric there, just adjusting his headphones, yeah, just analysing the game, coming to terms with that result. Still plenty of time to go. Still, if he wins his next 4 rounds, he's going to win the, going to get into that top 4. But yeah, he just has to recover from this setback first.
He's still sitting there in his chair, going through the game, seeing in which moments he could have played better. But certainly it wasn't that much about the moves. His chess was really high level even in severe time pressure. It was the time management that got him into this situation where, regardless of his winning position, he had to go down. He ran out of time and eventually lost the game because of playing slower than his opponent.
And still seated. An announcement being made about the start of the next round. Eric, yeah, he's going to go get some refreshments, try to forget about what just happened. And here was the closing stages, Anna. It all happened so quickly. Eric's clock, though, at the bottom right of the board, the black clock, it was all about that as it started to tick down. It looked like he was getting in trouble on the board, but kept finding the right defensive moves. Just not enough time when his chance finally came towards the end.
And we saw that gesture by Eric looking like there's no longer a chance, but then we see the repetition of moves. And if Magzoudlou had continued playing the best moves here for white, it would have led to a 3-fold repetition and therefore a draw. So Magzoudlou risks it all, goes for a worse sequence, and now black is winning, but black has no time to finish the game. And Baja Magzoudlou scores a very important win against Eric Hansen, who is definitely the favorite in terms of many of the viewers' eyes. He is such a beloved chess streamer, and he will still have his chances, but he has to go on a winning streak, bouncing back from this loss against Magzoudlou.
Yeah, very professional from Magzoudlou. He knew that, I think, 10-15 moves before the end, he knew that the clock was his best chance, and he put his foot on the pedal, started accelerating just at the right moment. But yeah, I think a lot of people cheering for both of those two players, both yeah, just phenomenal at what they do. And Magzoudlou, he's put himself in a great position after 3 rounds.
in a great position, 3 points out of 3 rounds, 100% score. Will he be the sole leader after this round, or can anyone keep up with this pace? There were only 4 players heading into this third round with a maximum score 2 out of 2. Now the question remains, David, I don't know if you have seen it already from the corner of your eyes, or can you guess if Maxulu will be the sole leader, or will anyone else manage to catch up?
I'll let you guess, Anna, or actually we'll reveal it all to the audience. 2 players on 100%, Parham Magzulu and Daniel Dubov. We followed them both so far today, and they're chased down by a huge pack, down from 3rd all the way down to 11th on 2 out of 3, including in 4th place currently on the tie breaks, Alireza Farouja's brother, I believe, followed by a huge number of Grandmasters. Malcolm Payne, we saw earlier in the day, his son Jonathan also on that chasing pack on 2.
Wow, wouldn't it be incredible if Alireza's brother makes it to the field too? Or now that I see Malcolm and Jonathan in the field, father and son qualifying for the Esports World Cup main event, that both of them could be an incredibly inspiring storyline.
Exactly. I mean, chess is full of those funny kind of coincidences, family connections, Polgar sisters, Muzitrick sisters. Yeah, maybe the Payne father-son duo, or maybe it's the Farouja brothers. Lots of storylines, lots of different kind of people to cheer for. It feels like so diverse, this Group B.
Very diverse, and I think you were right when you called it one of the toughest groups, because so far what we have seen is that there are a lot of very strong grandmasters in this field, and all of them with the right and chances to make it to the qualification, but only the top 4 will advance to the playoffs in the last chance qualifier. The next round is about to start. I'm really curious which will be our featured game for round 4, and a reminder to our viewers that this is 7 rounds in each group. The top 4 are advancing to the playoffs, which is taking place also in Paris the day after tomorrow. So 4 groups, top 4 qualify to the playoffs, and the playoffs have 5 qualification spots to the main event at chess at the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, so much to play for. And if they do qualify into that top 4, they get a day off tomorrow to get in the zone, to prepare, to get fresh, and throw everything at those knockouts, those playoffs, to try and get in. Yeah, they've got all eyes on those 4 spots. It's kind of do or die. You win or you go home, and that's when chess becomes that brings out the best in all the players.
It certainly brings out the best of all the players, and so inspiring to see also how many participants flew all the way from other continents to Paris to be able to have a chance to qualify and try to make it to the main event of chess at the Esports World Cup. This is the biggest prize fund that we have seen in a long while in chess. It's not common. $1.5 million at stake. That is the overall prize pool at the Esports World Cup main event in chess, and whoever makes it from here, 5 players will make it from the last chance qualifier to the play-ins. They will be probably getting the biggest paycheck of their careers.
Exactly, and that's why all the players have taken that risk. They have kind of flown out there to Paris, a lot of them doing it at their own expense, and yeah, just to have that chance, just to enter their hat into the draw and pray that they are the lucky ones. And round 4 about to begin, Anna, and it looks like some more fun matchups ahead.
Definitely more fun matchups. We will have, of course, the main clashes. We have seen Maxulu, of course, continuing with a great performance, and he is on a 100% score. But we're going to follow, actually, the storyline of Erik Hansen now for this next featured game, because he's facing a round 1 featured player, Malcolm Payne, 2 fan favorites.
2 heroes. The non-morning person, Malcolm Payne, versus Erik Hansen, the chess bra. Malcolm is 65, almost double Erik's age, so a generation clash. Malcolm, yeah, he lost round 2 after his quick round 1 win, castling queenside to deliver checkmate. Round 3, he bounced back with a victory. So will that yo-yo continue? Sometimes that happens, Anna. You win, then you lose, you win, you lose. You kind of get caught in that loop. Or can he turn on the magic? The players having a friendly chat. I know these 2 are good friends. Erik's played at Malcolm's tournament, the London Chess Classic, many times before.
He has, and now, even though they have a very good relation, they have to face each other for a very high stakes qualification spot for the main event at the Esports World Cup in chess. So friends outside the board, but over the board there is no friendship. There will be blood spilled on that chessboard, and only one of them will manage to continue in a good shape. Both of them already lost one game, as you mentioned, David, so it's crucial for either of these players to risk more and play for a win.
Exactly, and it's tricky because you have to kind of play for a win here, but a loss, it would be totally disastrous. They'd be on the brink. They'd have no more room for error. We talked about how many points was needed in the previous group. I said 6. It turns out the winning score was 6. 5 was enough to clinch it. But yeah, I think 5 here in a field like this, where it's so strong, so many Grandmasters, might not be enough. So I think 5.5 is probably the minimum to be safe. 5, you're playing with luck. So a loss would be, yeah, something to avoid for both of these two.
Definitely, you need to be very careful, as you said, the risk reward and how much risk is too much risk. Eric is the favorite in this matchup, but Malcolm, you cannot write him off. As you said, he's such an experienced player, captain, organizer, director, and also running a very important campaign right now in the chess world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he writes newspaper columns every day. I literally think he spends probably 20 out of every 24 hours doing something related to chess every single day. And we'll see if that pays off as the game begins. It's an E4, E5. It's a Spanish opening. Roy Lopez. Malcolm, he loves, from my experience working with him in the England team, he loves playing old-fashioned lines that his younger colleagues might not be aware of.
That is good news, I think, for us. And also, I'm curious to see what will it be in this case, in the variation that we see on the board. This is a very known opening, the Ruy Lopez or the Spanish opening. And will Malcolm try to go for some of those sidelines and lesser known paths to try to surprise Eric? So far, it's a very traditional and classical setup.
Yeah, very typical stuff. Both sides likely castle in the near future. Eric might, at some point, try to nudge a pawn up the side of the board and create some pressure. Maybe Eric will play to... there we go, he plays that first of all. Later, he might try to advance in the center as well, with some preparation needed. Development first. But yeah, this is all very well-known stuff. Malcolm most likely is going to either move his rook, his bishop, or push this pawn. And yeah, this type of position has been played countless times in chess history, Anna. But yeah, maybe the fact that it is kind of classical stuff, not too many early fireworks, maybe that favors the more experienced player.
I think it certainly should be the case. And Eric, he played really well the previous game, but his time management wasn't the best. Will he try to speed up in this game, not just for the sake of this round, but overall for his tournament? He cannot really do what happened in the previous round, where yes, the moves were great, but the time management didn't allow him to capitalize on a great opportunity against Maksud Liu and ended up losing on the clock in a winning endgame.
Yeah, it's easy to say, right? I'm a time trouble addict myself, and my whole career people were like, oh, if you just sped up just a little bit, just 10%, your results would be 10% better. But I mean, it's a lifelong habit, and Eric, I think he's in the same boat. He's had this issue with the clock, I think, for many years, and it's hard to correct it between rounds, mid-tournament. Yeah, it's going to be tough. So I think Malcolm, if he's aware of that, might start to kind of prolong the game a bit more, give Eric more choice. But yeah, Eric being a bit more direct this time, jumping into the center of the board with his knight.
I feel like I played a very similar game against Malcolm. I don't play much chess nowadays, but I did have a chance to play at the Houses of the Parliament in London against Malcolm at a very special event. And I have a very vague recollection of also placing my knight in the center and then was very happy about my bishop attacking his knight, and it was all for nothing. He knew everything, how to face it, how to play in the best way as black, and I had to bail out to not lose the game.
Anna, I was actually sitting next to you during that match. So,
oh, goodness me, I forgot that you saw that disaster that I was causing on the board.
No, it wasn't a disaster. It was a very interesting game. I was enjoying watching. Very balanced, I think, in the end. But Yeah, I think a draw would have been a draw was a fair result in that game.
I think so too, and I wonder if that will be the case in this game too. So far it's balanced. The knight jumps back to not allow that the black pawn structure would be damaged. If white were to capture that knight where it was earlier, black would have had to double the pawns. So Malcolm goes back, keeps the pawn structure very healthy and intact, and is ready now to also develop his light squared bishop.
Yeah, lots of choice. He can bring it out to challenge white's bishop. Maybe if he's allowed, he can create a pin on the white knight. First, Eric jumps into an outpost. He would love to have a knight on that square, but it has to be a bishop for now. And I'm expecting black to just defend his knight with the queen. And yeah, it just looks like this could be a kind of world championship match easily. Classical world championship match from 1968. Just very traditional stuff so far. No fireworks yet, Anna, but still early days.
Still early days, the calm before the storm, as we say it in many situations, and this is certainly one of those cases. Eric, again, with the more time spent, but at least this is not that big of a gap as it was in his previous game against Max Lu, where time was the decisive factor that ended up ruining the game for Eric.
Exactly. 7 minutes is acceptable now. They've played 15 moves already. I would say that if he gets down to 2-3 minutes and still super tense, all the pieces on the board, that's when panic stations start to occur. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm a bit surprised that Malcolm chose to defend the knight with the bishop, meaning that his own bishop cannot challenge the beautiful piece in the center right now. But Malcolm's going to try and play around this bishop, just ignore it maybe. And Eric doesn't look so happy on the camera there, Anna, shaking his head, not liking his opening.
Yeah, I wonder if it's about the position or it's still about what happened in the previous round, because they don't have much time to recover between games. And I feel like that was a very big hit for Eric Hansen, that he goes down against Max Lu. By having played a near perfect game, he found some incredible resources even in time pressure, but ends up losing on the clock.
Chess players, we know the hardest thing to do is forget. Like, we can't forget defeats. We can't forget our own mistakes, most importantly. We always think, what if only I'd done that better? If only I moved 5 seconds faster, trusted my instinct a little bit more, I would have won this game. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. But yeah, it's that's why the likes of Magnus and Hikaru and others, that's why they're at the top. They all lose occasionally, very rarely, but they all lose, but they all bounce back. And that's the key skill.
It's an absolutely crucial skill, and that's what Eric needs in this game to bounce back. And for Malcolm, same thing, that he went down in the previous round. And yes, he is the underdog in this game, but I feel like we're going to see upsets in this event, and we're going to see players who normally wouldn't be called some of the favorites for qualification spots, and they can be upsetting higher rated opponents. They are playing with less pressure, that is for sure. Malcolm is here to have fun.
Yeah, I didn't know Malcolm would be here, but I talked to him quite a lot, and yeah, I know what he would say. He was like, oh yeah, you know, I just decided to play some chess, last minute, last chance qualifier, flew over. It's only London to Paris. You can take the Eurostar. You'll be there in a couple of hours, and yeah, he's definitely just there to enjoy. He likes challenging himself and taking a break from work and playing some games. So yeah, definitely zero pressure on Malcolm's shoulders. Whereas Eric might be thinking, okay, I flew further. I flew from Canada. I have to win this game. Otherwise, was it all worth it? So
exactly.
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah, and his whole community, all the fans, the chess bra community supporting Eric Hansen. Lots more eyes and pressure on Eric, and he does have a somewhat better position here with the white pieces, but it's also not that obvious how to make further progress and how you can increase that advantage.
Malcolm's last move might look like the bishop's a bit blocked, but he's cleared a square for his knight to try and evict white's bishop. That bishop's a bit of an intruder in the in the black half of the board, so kicking it out would be a small gain for black. Yeah, it's very tough. Like, maybe he should be trying to activate, control the open line somehow, get his rook up, or maybe just move the queen, just keep control. But a lot of maneuvering ahead. Both players around the 5 minute, 40, 50 mark. Yeah, I have a feeling, Anna, that this might be decided later when things look level and then suddenly out of the blue, someone gets in time trouble, someone loses control, the total momentum changes, and yeah, it becomes chaotic.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. The time is even, the position is roughly even as well. Very tense moment in this middle game where there's still a lot of pieces left on the board. Only one open file, only one pair of pawns have been traded and one pair of knights. Everything else is still on the board, and it makes it a very complex middle game with a lot of chances for both players. But will Eric sink into a deeper thought here? Because he is shaking his head a little bit, not being certain of what's the best way forward.
Yeah, he's just not in the flow right now, Eric Hansen. He's still got a good position. He's played well. Like, both sides have played pretty much perfectly since move one here. But yeah, you just got to stay positive, look for chances. One move he would love to play is to move his bishop to apply pressure to this pawn. But at the moment, his own pawn would be defended insufficiently. So he could be thinking about exchanging first, bring his bishop forward. He could just move his queen. Plenty of squares he could use for the queen. There's no right or wrong here. I think that's the key. Like, whatever you play, the position's fine. It's still roughly equal. He just needs to keep that time in the bank for later. He's been spending 1.5, nearly 2 minutes now on this one move, Eric. That's just too much.
It really is too much, and that was the recipe toward a not successful result in the previous game, where he was doing so well on the board and even had a winning position at the end of the game against Max Lulu, but that was the time factor that decided the game. We see the bishop dropping back, knight maneuver by Malcolm toward the king side, toward the right side of the board.
Yeah, if that knight is allowed to jump even further later, it might cause white to part with the bishop pair. It might open up the black bishop if the black knight jumps and is recaptured. Eric improves his bishop. If the knight does move, Anna, maybe he's going to ignore it, just shift his queen. At the moment, it's still so tense. All the pawns on the queen side looking at each other. Neither side wants to blink. Oh, you can tell, like, both of them, they want this so much. And if they're going to qualify, it feels like both of them might need a win.
They both might need it indeed, since they both have lost already one game. This is both of them having 2 points out of 3 rounds. In the 4th round, there's still a few players, or at least one that I know of, on 100% score, but that's not Eric, neither Malcolm. As you said, they need to bounce back from the loss in round 2. They need to win this game, but only one of them can prevail. It's tense moment on the board, tense moments also when it comes to the clock, as both of them are approaching their final minutes. 4.5 minutes for Malcolm and 3 minutes 48 seconds left for Eric. There is no increment, so this is all the time left.
Yeah, the one thing I will mention though is if it's 1 minute versus 1 minute, Eric is a huge favorite. If it's 1 minute for Eric, 2 minutes for Malcolm, then things could be quite spicy. I think Malcolm needs to maintain the time advantage. He's far less experienced than Eric at bullet chess or playing super speedy with the mouse, as he does jump in with his knight. And Eric does trade off in order to get his pawn center rolling. Great decision from Eric Hansen. Suddenly the game, Anna, we can feel it, the player's body language as well. It's sped up. The pace has changed.
The pace has certainly changed, and now Malcolm is also trying to activate his pieces, coming in with the queen, attacking several of the white pieces. But now that queen could end up being in trouble, as the other rook is about to trap the queen. What can Malcolm do about this?
Oh no, danger for Malcolm Payne. His queen is in huge trouble. Oh, he does find a way to at least not lose material. I'm not sure whether that was the best decision necessarily, but if the white rook comes to hit the queen, then the queen could capture that rook. And 2 rooks for a queen, a fair trade. Eric, though, he's looking for a breakthrough on a different part of the board. And I think we might have just seen the first big error. Just this last couple of moves, Anna. Malcolm jumping in with his queen, getting her trapped. And now, while his pieces are deflected, there's pressure against his bishop. More importantly, e6 is going to blow open the light squares around the black king.
And that is the problem here. As you said, the black queen found a way to stay safe. But once the white pawn is advanced, now it's attacking the black bishop. The bishop needs to go. And then you advance the pawn further to target the other bishop and open up the diagonal of your own bishop. That's the sniper waiting on b3, ready to attack the black king once the pawns are off of the board.
Exactly. That is the heart and soul of the Spanish opening, the Roy Lopez, the light squared bishop. Bobby Fischer, world champion, used to win so many games in this opening due to the beauty of that piece. And yeah, it's about to become even more potent and powerful. Eric, he might not look it, but I think this is the happiest he's been all game. He's still looking tense, but this is the first time he's had an advantage and had a clear plan of attack.
And he knows it. He knows that his position is now much better than how it was. It was a very balanced position a few moves ago, and now it is advantage for white. Also advantage on the clock. So great news for Eric that even though the previous game was hugely decided by his time management, he managed to speed up more, be more confident about his decisions. And it's looking good right now for the Canadian Grandmaster. Beloved chess streamer, so many fans are rooting for him, but Malcolm here, the underdog, he's really trying to find a way to stay in the game and to have fighting chances.
Yeah, he finds a safe square for his bishop for now, but yeah, to keep fighting chances, he's going to have to find a solution if white pushes forward in the center. Eric is doing some calculation. Why attack immediately when you can work it out and maybe attack at the right moment? What to do? Is he going to push his central pawn and try to get to that black king on the light squares? It takes almost superhuman self-restraint, Anna, to not play that move instantly.
I know, I expected him to almost pre-move it because the pawn was heading in that direction, but he is taking his time and that's the right thing to do here. Critical decision. And he knows that if he plays the right sequence, then his position should have really good winning chances. So he's making sure that he executes and exploits the advantage given to him in the best way possible.
Yeah, there we go. Spending a lot of time though. Eric, head in hands, not ready to move yet. Other tempting options might include first attacking this black bishop, maybe bringing the rook to the center. I don't know, taking that bishop, so much choice, but he needs to move, he needs to speed up. And finally he looks ready. What's it going to be? Oh, 2 minutes against 2 minutes. This is becoming even more random now. And like Eric's determined to be lower on time than his opponent.
It seems to be the case, and he's shaking his head. He knows that he needs to make a decision faster, but he just cannot make up his mind whether it's the pawn push or another move. I'm sure he's considering a few options here, and what is the best and most accurate way to continue here. He knows he's better, he knows it's his chance, and the evaluation bar says that the pawn push actually was not the best way to proceed.
Ooh, not the best way. Maybe he needs to prepare it. Still with an advantage, though. And still an unpleasant move for Malcolm to face. Okay, we see some exchanges. That bishop should be captured. Malcolm may be thinking of pinning it. But yeah, leaving that bishop alive a little longer does feel super risky. I think, ooh, he does pin. Not the best. Maybe just taking it would have been a little safer. He's still going to win the piece back, but now Eric can drag the black king out of its hiding spot. Maybe there are better moves. Oh, this is becoming very tactical now, Anna, and this is where they needed their time.
Extremely tactical indeed. Now the black king is drawn out to the 7th rank. There could be checks from the side, and that's exactly what's happening. The queen moves out of harm's way with this check on the diagonal.
Ooh, check on the diagonal, and I think the black king might have to move. The only tempting option other than moving the king would maybe be to block with his queen, but oh, that allows white in. There was actually a killer tactic there, Anna. White could have landed a fork with a knight check, and then a queen check would have won the black rook, but Eric missed it, and now it's back to almost level. The clock's at totally level, 1 minute each.
Incredible total level on the clock, and the position is somewhat better for Eric, but it's no longer that kind of a significant advantage that it looked like it was heading toward with the tactical pattern you were highlighting, David. That was a big miss by Eric under the time pressure. Now he's down to 1 minute and 5 seconds, very close to the 1 minute and 2 seconds that Malcolm has left.
Exactly. So inspirational, the way Malcolm's been defending, covering everything. He's been playing so accurately since Eric missed that chance. And Eric is trying to win a pawn. But if the whole queenside, those 2 pawns disappear, Anna, this should be a draw with best play. It's just about the clock. Malcolm suddenly 10 seconds down. Still the one with a slightly more open king. I think Eric is a favorite here because of the nature of the position, but also because of the clock.
I agree with you that in a bullet segment like this, the players below a minute, Eric Hansen is a beast. He is going to try to capitalize on even this few second time advantage that he has, and the position is still a lot more simplified, but that pawn, the C-pass pawn of white, is making sure that Malcolm has to parry those threats and not allow the pass pawn to be pushed.
Black's queen is a pure blockader, but Black's pawn as well, quite dangerous if he can get it rolling later. And maybe he has ideas of cutting the coordination between the white rook and its pawn. I think objectively it should still be a draw. Mistake there from Eric. The advantage is gone, but wow, suddenly Eric's 10 seconds down. How did that happen?
He started thinking more, and now it is Malcolm with the time advantage. This will be decided in the final time scramble. Here, 16 seconds for Eric Hansen, 24 seconds for Malcolm Payne. Can the underdog prevail in this game where Eric Hansen, the Grandmaster from Canada, was the one with the better position, and now he's in the winning position after the rook move?
Oh, Malcolm's walked into a
blundered,
pin.
and he knows
and he's
it.
laughing.
He knows
He's laughing. Pawn to b3, the game continues, but there we go. The knight puts maximum pressure, and Malcolm's laughing. He's had such a fun game. Whoa, and Eric took with the rook.
The rook? What?
He's going to flag Malcolm here, and Malcolm doesn't even try. And there we go. Eric, I think he feels guilty. Handshake between the two.
What an ending to a very tense game, and the players are exchanging smiles and comments about what happened.
I wasn't sure. I couldn't find it.
Maybe h4, bishop d8, then e6.
Yeah.
Isn't that the too strong?
I was h4, bishop d8, and then e6.
Then e6, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was originally looking at, but I thought I overestimated.
I thought you might have missed rook e8 on a bad day, but I was.
I saw rook e8. I overestimated it. Because h4, I was like, do I have to play?
At the end, I'm right back in it, aren't I?
You're right back in
having
it.
Fun, yeah.
You're right back
just intuitively, I can see my bishop's doing quite well.
Because my knight can't get in the game.
So I thought I probably can't come to too much harm here if I play the cards right.
Yeah. No, I can't do anything with my knight. So no, when I finally had an easy position, I didn't play h4. You just confused me with bishop g5. I forgot about like.
I thought here's a movie.
I almost played queen a2. That's what I was spending time on.
Oh, sure, but what do I do about that? Can I go to queen c4 again?
No, when my bishop's on b3.
Oh, when your bishop. Oh, queen a2 first. Yeah. Yeah, that might be quite good. I hadn't thought about it. I mean, I was always on the lookout.
I was going to gamble because in the end I saw rook a8. If you don't find rook a8, I didn't find a nice move because it.
I think I'm lost if I don't play rook a8.
Yeah. But rook a8 and then king f8, or I don't know. It was.
I thought it would almost.
So that was the problem. I thought I could go queen a2 and then I saw rook a8. Because.
Oh, I see what you mean.
My pieces just get tangled.
Somehow don't work. Yes.
If you play passive.
God, at the end I thought, my God, I have a passed pawn, I have a good bishop, I'm attacking f2.
Oh yeah, you almost
got. I thought, do I win now? But then you confused me. Rook d1, of course, I just didn't see.
Oh yeah, rook e1. I'm like, that was.
I just completely missed it. It was my back rank was on priest.
I mean, that was my only trick, was the light squares, because my knight can't do anything.
Yes. Yeah, because if you don't play rook e1, I suppose I just push my b pawn to b2 and happy days.
If I wanted to take no risk, I was supposed to just maybe take your bishop or something. Like earlier.
Yeah. Oh, but, I mean, the opening. I mean, knight f4 is very controversial, but it's just I know if I don't do anything, I'm not as quick as you, so I might as well do something. And I wasn't sure objectively how bad it could be.
Probably
actually. Queen c3 is a bit cheap. Yeah, no, that's pushing it.
Oh, it's pushing it.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe I should go. I thought actually maybe just to go. Funnily, it's strange enough, rook e8 actually.
Yeah.
And then g5 and king g7 and.
Yeah, if you can get in.
If I can do that, I should be okay. Yeah. Oh, that was really entertaining. Thank you. I've actually never played someone like you in a game like this in my life.
Oh, okay.
So this is like fun.
You don't have to remove. You will be staying there.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're in the hot seat now.
I'll just shut it down.
Yeah, that was good fun. Thank you, Eric. Good luck with the rest.
Wow, that was chess language at its best. The two players analyzing the game. Blindfold, of course. There's no longer a board in front of them. They are just spitting out variations and moves and what could have happened if. That was a very important win for Eric Hansen. But what a fight by international master Malcolm Payne. We're going to be following these two players and the rest of Group B for the remaining 3 rounds. We're going to take a short break, but when we are back, this is the final decisive 3 rounds left from Group B, and only 4 players will make it to the playoffs at the last chance qualifier. This is the Esports World Cup in Paris, and a lot of players want a prize pool of that $1.5 million fund at stake when it comes to the main event in chess in Paris. We'll be right back at the other side of this break.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by play.
Thinks he can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing but go!
Tyler, why? You're done.
This is my ladder. You can't climb it.
It's better than being hard-sucking masters.
You're going too far now. Your eyes buggy. Your elbows ashy.
Is that airline? That's an L airline.
Somebody better hold me.
Okay, yeah. Do something then.
Raw energy. Blow the house down.
You look nervous. You look short.
Everything's good?
Mm-hmm.
Fight.
Okay.
Do you really need the wraps?
Yeah, that feels like overkill to me.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Esports World Cup in Paris. This is the last chance qualifier in chess. 5 qualification spots remain for the main event in chess, taking place next week for a prize fund of $1.5 million. The pressure, the stakes could not be higher, and only 5 players will make it to the big field where defending champion Magnus Carlsen is waiting. While Team Falcon members Hikaru Nakamura and Alireza Firouzja will be trying their best to take points from Team Liquid and the rest of the clubs at chess. This is significant for the club championship, but what we have today are the players who are trying to make it to that big field in chess. Parham Maksudlu and Daniel Dubov are in shared first place, while Luca Moroni and Eric Hansen are in third and fourth place with 3 points. I think there will be some corrections here when it comes to just the number of rounds. They have played 4 rounds, but what matters is the number of points they have collected. 3.5 for Maksudlu and Dubov, and they will be facing each other. So the 2 leaders will be facing each other in this upcoming round in our featured game, while the other players that you see right now from 5th place and below at the moment wouldn't be making it to the playoffs. Top 4 in each group qualifies to the playoffs that will be the day after tomorrow here at the last chance qualifier. David, when you see this matchup, and what are the chances of the players here? How do you see their performances, their form? What can you tell us about these 2 heavy favorites?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We've now followed Eric Hansen quite a few times. We see patterns in his play. Fantastic positional player, great understanding, great feel, knows where the pieces go, rarely blunders, but maybe the clock, a small issue. Dubov, we've seen once. He won in very fast fashion. I should mention, he also drew in very fast fashion, Anna. He and his other co-leader, Maksudlu, in the previous round, we missed it because I think everyone missed it. They were there for about 30 seconds at the board, exchange Slav, swapped all the pieces, draw. And Dubov, he has Malcolm Dubov, as we're calling him here. He has started drawing a lot of quick games recently in his career. I think he likes to play it safe when he can. He takes risks when he can. And I think the fact that he's black means that he'll be happy to be solid. And wow, it is like watching Eric Hansen against Malcolm Dubov, because it's pretty much the exact same position he had against Malcolm Payne earlier in the day.
I think that was foreshadowing, because we exactly see that same setup. And will Eric try again the knight jump into the central square, trading knights there to get his bishop in the middle of the board? He again has the white pieces and again plays that same kind of setup. So it will be interesting to see if he changes the strategy against a higher rated opponent. In this case, it is Daniel Dubov who is the favorite in this matchup. But of course, you cannot write off someone like Eric Hansen, very experienced speed chess grandmaster, also from Canada, and very experienced streamer, very much a fan favorite. But I feel like so is Dubov. And as you said, no one wants to see Daniel Dubov in the main event when it comes to the players who are already there. Everyone fears him a little bit.
Exactly. The fans want to see Daniel Dubov there, but the other players, they don't want to see him there. He's so dangerous, especially when you provoke him, when you wake him up, when you force him to play. Daniel comes for you. But I think, yeah, lately with Black, I think he wouldn't be so scared of a draw here. He's just rock solid with Black. He's doing exactly what Malcolm did. Maybe he even saw in that short break between round 4 and 5 how Eric did. He prepared a small improvement. Eric, meanwhile, he had this exact position just a few minutes ago, and now he's burnt 2 minutes thinking what to do new. He should just copy, just do what he did earlier. It worked out eventually. Eric, you got to move.
You got to move, Eric, and I think he should listen to you, because spending time here to try to figure out a different setup is not the best recipe in speed chess when it's 10 minutes, no increment, and he already has burnt over 2 minutes of his time. Ends up costling a natural move, but spent way too long on that decision. Another knight jump into the middle of the board, as it happened in his previous game against Malcolm Payne.
Exactly, and yeah, nothing new under the sun here. We've seen this all before earlier in the day.
The only difference, is that Eric has spent 2.5 minutes getting the same position. Why?
Ooh, and it was actually Daniel Dubov to try something new. A slightly different twist. I think Eric hit the knight back in a different way earlier, but now the knight's gone a different route back. It wants to step towards this square where it can actually prevent the white bishop from sitting as it did in the Malcolm Payne game, pretty in the middle of the board. So, yeah, Dubov with the first surprise. Dubov probably still in preparation. He's a very well-trained opening expert. And Eric, of course, back in the think tank.
And that's not good news because Eric played really well in all the games we have witnessed, but his time management was the decisive factor against Grandmaster Parham Marsulu. That's the game where Eric went down in a winning endgame. At the end of the day, it was a winning position, but no time left on the clock. Now it's already over a 3-minute or about a 3-minute time disadvantage, and Eric is still thinking, then pushes a pawn on the edge of the board.
Yeah, and a frown from Dubov. He's like, wait, that's a bit slow. You're not going to punish my opening. You're not going to get a white opening advantage with a quiet move like that. But we'll see. What is the plan? I think perhaps if Dubov retreats too early, Eric might be tempted to pin that knight, bring his bishop to the edge of the board, maybe even just trade off that knight to cement his bishop on a nice outpost. But more likely, we'll see Dubov try to be a bit clever with his move order. Let's see what he can come up with. Repping team spirit. His games are always very full of attacking spirit, Anna.
Most certainly, it is a very fitting club for Daniel Dubov and, of course, Eric Hansen, rapping the chess bras. He has been a chess streamer for so long, an OG streamer, was streaming chess before it was cool, was streaming chess before even Hikaru Nakamura was streaming chess. So he really was there as a pioneer in the chess industry on YouTube and on Twitch before it was a popular category. Now the bishop comes to the long diagonal. That's how Daniel is developing his light squared bishop. Very logical, and it is still keeping an eye on that knight on the edge of the board.
Still defending his knight. Probably Dubov will get his queen off the back rank. Then he'll start to centralize his knight a bit later, bring it into the center. And yeah, looking very, very solid for black. These are just typical Roy Lopez Spanish opening types of positions, right, Anna? Just slow maneuvering, long games. In classical chess, it makes a lot of sense, but in speed chess, it's hard because you just can't spend too long on the clock. You have to just admit there's no calculation to be done. Just got to make your slow improvement moves. Get your bishop to a better square, move your queen off the back rank, connect your rooks. Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady is definitely the key here, but you cannot be slow on the clock. And I'm a little bit worried about Eric and looking at that 2-minute time gap. And in this moment, it's still quite an early stage of the middle game. Still very complex, lots of pieces left on the board. I feel like Daniel will try to keep the position as complex as possible and capitalize on his time advantage.
Yeah, I wonder, Daniil, he brings his knight back where it came from earlier. If Eric were to tickle that knight, say, okay, I might come back and take it, would Daniil drop his knight back where it came from and the players start to repeat the position? Or would he go to a different square with his knight? Eric's spending so much time at this point that, okay, we're going to find out. Does Daniil want a draw?
Repetition. Will they continue with that dance, the bishop and the knight jumping back and forth? If it repeats 3 times, that is a draw.
Second time we've seen this. So if Eric decides to move his bishop, he needs to decide quickly. He's down around the 5-minute mark now. If he moves his bishop and Daniil brings the knight back, we could potentially see a draw. But at some point, if Eric thinks 2 more minutes and then goes for it, Daniil Dubov will not agree a draw. He will play on and try to flag Eric Hansen. So Eric needs to just decide, tournament-wise, does he want the draw? He says no, he wants more.
That is a brave decision. And also, I feel like Daniil might have been playing mind games, making you think, oh, I won the draw, but then he decides not to repeat for the 3rd time. You never know. You can never tell in these situations if the player was actually ready to accept a draw and repeat the moves, or was it just making you burn some time on the clock with that hesitation, the doubt, and then continue the game. But Eric goes and says, I don't care what your plan was, I'm just gonna not repeat no matter what, and bring my rook to the 5th rank, attacking that pawn on b5, which at the moment is loose, has no one to protect it.
It can be defended in a variety of ways. The knight can step back to hold that pawn, although the white rook then will get access even further down into the black camp. The queen could also defend that pawn. Dubov, I wonder whether he's weighing up some tactics, like in the near future, whether he might start pushing some pawns forward, just creating squares for his knights. Yeah, it's very, very tense position, but Dubov has the luxury to stop and think and try to figure out what to do next. Eric needs to start pre-moving almost at this point. Queen to d7, I'm expecting from Dubov.
Queen to d7 is a very natural move to guard the pawn. He chooses the knight to jump back to c7 and defend the pawn this way. And it also allows for him to bring his rook to the open file. But that's why Eric places the rook on the 7th rank, putting pressure on the bishop.
Not allowing black to trade off those rooks, as you mentioned there. Also, maybe some ideas of that pin that we mentioned earlier, trading off a bishop for the knight. The dream is to end up with a good knight for white versus black's dark square bishop. A slightly dodgy piece. And, ooh, Dubov's trying to trap Eric Hansen here. The rook has no way home.
He has nowhere to go, and black is ready to attack the rook with the queen. If it's black to move, the queen will come next to the rook and attack it. You have nowhere to go, and therefore bishop to d5 was a key move in order to somehow rescue your rook from being trapped there.
Yeah, great move from Eric. I don't think he saw this idea of his rook getting trapped, but luckily there was a way out, and he finds that, and maybe now we'll see a bunch of exchanges. And first it's the bishops that come off the board. I think Eric wants to take this bishop back, even though it fractures his pawn structure. Doubled pawns now for white in the center. Now the rooks will come off. And yeah, this is maybe a transition that helps black. And long term, black is the one who can start playing on the other flank.
And that's exactly a move that Daniel Duba will be looking at. He first offers a rook trade to eliminate the most active piece of his opponent, this rook on the 7th rank, and then try to expand, as you highlighted. F5 will be a very natural follow-up.
Eric defends his hanging pawn in the center. Those pawns protect each other. Yeah, body language has changed from Eric. Suddenly upright, suddenly a bit more tense. He knows that he's lost a little bit of control. He's still totally fine, but yeah, maybe in the back of his mind, not going for that repetition, whether Dubov would have accepted it or not agreeing to a draw or going for it. Yeah, that's where the mind games you mentioned earlier, Anna, they persist over the course of the game. You could start regretting every decision you make.
And that's going to be a heavy one to have it linger in the back of your mind. That was it a draw? Did Daniel want to repeat? Did I push too much? Was it better to just continue with that repetition of moves and accept the draw? But instead, we have seen Eric Hansen very brave going forward, and it's no longer a repetition of moves but a pressure on the b5 pawn, and that pawn is pinned, so black cannot capture the white pawn because his queen would be captured at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's still some tricks, still some tactics. If the black pawn now captures, then after a queen trade, the white rook will be able to capture the black knight that was en prise. It was hanging loose, so it's retreated. And yeah, long term, it just feels like black has a very pleasant position, but short term, white does have the open A file. White doesn't have any real threats to deal with immediately. Yeah, Eric, I think 3 minutes should be enough if he's calm here and just starts improving his pieces. He ideally wants to move his bishop to a better square, maybe get his knight back into the game somehow. But yeah, big decision still ahead.
Big decision, and also a big decision on how much time is he going to spend on this decision. He cannot afford to think long anymore. He's down to his final 3 minutes. He drops the queen back to c2.
Interesting. So he is saying that black can win a pawn by exchanging here. The black queen and rook are lining up, doubling up on this loose pawn. But if it's captured, if the queens come off, then at the very end, the white rook will be able to activate and come into the black position. So bit of a judgment call there from Eric. He's trying to force Daniel Dubov to simplify things, speed up the end of the game. But Daniel says, okay, you've got no time. Why should I make any commitments here at all?
And that's what Eric does too. Just a little improving move. one step forward with the pawn to strengthen his pawn chain and make sure that he can take back on c4 with the b pawn if it were to be hanging because of the black queen and the rook.
Solid move. Dubov challenges for the open file. If rooks and queens come off the heavy pieces, Anna, it should probably be a draw. If it's just bishops and knights because it's so blocked. But yeah, still not easy to achieve that for Erik Hansen.
It's still not. He does place the rook on the 5th rank again. We have seen a rook there before. Now this is the second rook coming to the same square. Erik looking up and shaking his head. He's not very happy with the last couple of moves, I feel.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. His bishop might get trapped. If the black pawn was able to close the cage and keep that white bishop sidelined, it would have been disastrous long term. So the white bishop runs away before it's too late. And the only question is whether Dubov wants to try and get his queen into the white position or whether he's going to prioritize instead pushing pawns, trying to switch play to the other side of the board.
That is a very important question. And also, looking at the time situation again, it's a 1.5-minute time advantage for Daniil Dubov. And he is definitely going to use the pressure on the clock to try to get something more out of this game than sharing the point. Draw would be the most likely result based on the position, but if you take into account the time management, Dubov still has pretty good practical chances.
Definitely. And there's a pattern, Anna. Every move, Daniil Dubov is just trying not to commit. He's trying not to do too much. There we go. He blocks it up. He's saying, okay, this is just going to go on and on and on. And very experienced players. And Dubov's young, but I'm going to count him among them. Like experienced players at the top level, they know when to just keep the tension, just when to keep the game going, because they know they kind of have the confidence to think that the game will be decided a bit later, that things will heat up inevitably.
Things will definitely heat up, and we do see that pawn push that you highlighted already moves ago, David, that at some point Black was gonna try to expand further on the king side, also keep a better control of the central squares. And we see the Black queen now going to the back rank, might head over to the king side, but Erik is trying to stop the activity of Black's pieces by placing his queen on the 7th rank.
Just tying down Black's pieces for now. The Black king is also X-ray vision being hit by that white queen in some variations. Dubov, I'm expecting him to slowly move his bishop out of the way, then move his knight out of the way and try to activate. But yeah, it's all about the clock. He's still not committing, still not doing anything significant, Dubov. It feels like he's just playing the waiting game. He's going to wait till Erik's down at 30 seconds and then he'll try and confuse him.
It really feels like it. And again, twice as much time for Daniil Dubov. He is trying to use the time pressure in his favor, but for now, Erik Hansen has been playing really well, no mistakes, and still an equal position with this active queen on the 7th rank trying to block the activity of the Black pieces. We see a knight maneuver by Daniil Dubov.
Yeah, that knight might come round and support some pawn pushes towards the white king. A knight is a king's best friend. Nice square anyway for that Black knight. But Erik, the body language, it's a bit nervous. Yeah, he knows that he needs to end this game soon, as quickly as possible. So he's going to change his tactics now. And yeah, that knight is keeping the Black queen from activating. The Black queen would love to get out into the game, but tied down defending her knight. Some light square issues maybe around the Black king. Erik's played fantastically. It's still a level position, but yeah, under 1 minute, he just needs to clarify things, Anna. And I don't see how he forces the issue or trades things off or gets an attack in the near future.
That is the problem for Erik, that there is no easy way of simplifying the position, and Daniil will try to keep the pieces on the board. Having said that, he's offering a queen trade, but that's because the white queen is so active that he wants to get rid of the most active piece of his opponent.
Oh, and Daniil Dubov leans forward. Watch out.
That was a mistake. Again, a piece is about to be trapped. Earlier, it was in the rook getting into trouble. Now the white queen is nearly trapped. Therefore, Erik has to push the pawn to create a space for that queen.
Oh, Erik shaking his head. He knows, again, he's lost control because of the clock. He's done nothing wrong on the board until that last move, but that was because he rushed. Taking the queens off, Anna, if he had 1 more minute, he would have taken the queens off. He'd been like, okay, I'm guaranteed going to draw this. Oh, nice move there from Dubov, pinning and winning. That G-pawn now cannot move forward The white bishop is still hit. He's just going to gobble up a pawn in the near future, and the queen is also coming in a bunch of different directions to remove and grab all the white pawns.
And essentially, the white position is collapsing. The violation bar is screaming now. Decisive advantage for Daniel Dubov. This was the storyline that you highlighted, that under time pressure, there will be moments where it won't be enough for Eric. And having said that, sorry, I'm jinxing everything. And now it is Daniel Dubov who makes a mistake, and we are back to even.
We're back to even, but 27 seconds. Now Dubov is going to have to be ruthless and just play for the clock. I think he forgot that the bishop could be captured before the black knight. He was assuming the black knight would be taken. Now it's a level knight endgame. This is the closest Eric's been to ending things, forcing the draw. But 24 seconds, still some big decisions to make, and you still can't get the knights off the board, build a fortress. You can't end it anytime soon.
You cannot, and this is a big time disadvantage to play with. There is no increment, so 21 seconds left for Erik Hansen to stay alive in this game. The position is even. It should be a draw if it comes to this end game, but he has no time to defend it.
Oh, no time, and now the white knight is tied down, defending a pawn. Dubov's just going to try and maneuver his king around, slowly waste a bit of time, repeat the position once, maybe twice, but not 3 times. He offers a knight trade, rejected by Erik Hansen. 10 seconds. Yeah, 50 move rule. Only kicks in if there are no pawn pushes, no progress from 50 moves. And finally, a mistake by Erik. We see a check. Maybe the black should have taken and got the knight in through the center instead, but now the black king is coming. It's all gone wrong for Erik Hansen. Anna, no time.
3, 2, 1. Erik Hansen has lost thread of this endgame and is now losing on time. He has played so well this game, but at the end of the day, it was Daniel who had the better time management and uses it in his favor. It's part of speed chess, it's part of the format, and we see a smile and a handshake by the players analyzing the game together.
Yeah, great sportsmanship from Erik Hansen, despite the defeat, despite the setback, still shaking hands, still giving his opponent a smile. But yeah, regret, I think, the main feeling for him. Ultimately, Anna, like, if he was a bit more cynical, Eric, if he tried to go for a draw right from the start or repeated the position, a draw would have been a fine result. He would have been top 4. Dubov is one of the toughest opponents. That would have been out the way. A couple of rounds left. But Eric wanted more, and that's why we love him. That's why he has so many fans, Eric. He's a maximalist. He wants to play more chess, to entertain the fans. He doesn't want quick, cowardly draws, but yeah, unfortunately, just the clock coming back to haunt him.
It happened again, unfortunately for him, but you are so right. That's the reason why so many of the viewers and the Chessbrah community have been backing Erik Hansen. He is courageous, he is fearless, he's going for it, and he had his chances in this game. He has been playing really good chess. It was only the clock situation that ended up becoming the decisive factor again for the second time in his tournament. And now that he has lost 2 games, unfortunately for Erik, it's looking really small, the chances for a qualification.
Yeah, small chances. Most likely, Eric will need to win both of his last 2 games, and then he might have a chance. But yeah, it's not in his own hands anymore. He's going to be struggling. And just a replay of the last few moves, it did start to turn in Dubov's direction. Anna, just you could see black advancing, white retreating, and the final position. The clock is one thing that decided it, but it was winning king and pawn endgame incoming for Daniel Dubov.
Winning on the board and winning on the clock, but that collapse in the endgame was because of this time situation, and Erik knows it. He played a good game, he just did not manage his time as best as possible. As you said, it's really hard, if that's something that has been a trademark of yours, so to say, that you spend longer, end up in time troubles, and this is an unforgiving format and unforgiving time control. No increment, 10 minutes the players start with, no increment. You end up using all those 10 minutes, you end up losing the game as well. And after the first 5 rounds with only 2 more games to go. We do have Daniel Dubov now rising to the top with this win. Shared first place between Daniel Dubov and Parham Maksudlu, and on 3rd place and 4th, as well as 5th, actually 3.5 points by Maxime Lagarde, Robert Gabriel Sava and Luc van Veli. So it's still quite a tight race, and even the players on 3 points, including Eric Hansen, you cannot rule them out. If you win the last 2 games, you still have a pretty good chance at making it to the top 4. It's the top 4 that matters to qualify to the playoffs of the last chance qualifiers.
Exactly. Some players in must-win situations, that means risk will be taken. We'll see maybe Eric speed up finally. But yeah, above that, there's no room for error either. Dubov, Maksudlu, most likely they should get through. I think 1 out of 2 from their last 2 games should be enough. So maybe we'll see them play it safe. But everyone else will be going for it, going for their opponents. And yeah, nice to see some underdogs like Robert Gabriel Sava. Just a candidate master up in top 4. Breaking the mold, big breakthrough in his career if he can make it.
Would be an incredible breakthrough for Robert, candidate master from Romania, and is now sharing the 3rd place with 2 grandmasters. So it's an incredible event so far for Robert, and he will be the opponent of tournament leader Daniel Dubov, at least Group B leader Daniel Dubov. That's not an easy matchup for Robert, but if he has 3.5 points, it's because he has upset some strong opponents already, and Daniel Dubov is the one with the pressure on his side, so he is supposedly the favorite in that matchup.
Yeah, and that's the thing about being a dark horse, an underdog. You can use it as a superpower, bully your opponents into taking risk, overpressing, and then counterattacking. But yeah, ultimately, though, you are playing an uphill battle, facing all of these world-class grandmasters, game in, game out. It can start to add up. So great start for Robert Gabriel Sava, but can he keep it up? That's the big question.
Can he keep it up, and can he keep it up with the black pieces? Daniel Dubov now will have the white pieces. We have seen in his previous game him defending on the black side of a Spanish opening against Eric Hansen, and now it's going to be Daniel with the white pieces. For Daniel, so far this is an incredible tournament, and even though his game against Eric Hansen was a very tense one, he always had the better time management and a very significant time lead on the clock. So I think he always knew that he's at least safe. He was never really in danger of getting into a worse position. If anything, he was the one who was trying throughout the whole game because of Eric having less time. So time has been a really important decisive factor in some of these top clashes, and that's what we love about speeches. It's the chess moves, but also the pressure on the clock and the tension in the air, the stakes being this high. Can we again say that it's $1.5 million, the prize fund at the main event at the Esports World Cup in chess? That's happening next week, the main event, and 5 players from our last chance qualifier are trying to make it. There's only 5 spots left to this very big field with a huge prize fund. So over 100 participants in the last chance qualifier, but only 5 spots to actually make it, and that could make the career of any of these players the biggest paycheck of their lifetime possibly.
Exactly, for the likes of Sava, just a CM, just a candidate master. I mean, that's stronger than most players in the world, but compared to these grandmasters, that is very impressive. For him, it would be life-changing. For the likes of Jonathan Payne, Malcolm Payne's son, FIDE master in 8th place right now, again within striking distance, that would be life-changing. Yeah, there's a lot on the line. And of course, we're used to saying, okay, the grandmasters clinch it. The clutch games, they bring their best. And like Dubov earlier against Hansen, just looking really calm. I think that just that know-how, that kind of trust in themselves, that tends to pay off. But what a story it would be if an underdog strikes, makes it through.
It would be an incredible story, and we have seen some upsets, and maybe there is more to come. It would not be a shock if we see some upsets like that and underdog stories as well. A FIDE master making it, a candidate master making it, when it's a lot of grandmasters that are waiting for you at the main event. And what a qualification journey that would be if you are an underdog in your group and then you make it all the way to the big stage.
Exactly, and we'll see in this next game. I'm especially excited. Yeah, I don't know much about Sava, I must say. I'm sure he plays some very suave chess, but it's going to be a fun one to watch. Yeah, in the meantime, Dubov, I think a win here would secure it for him. So we might see Dubov back to the more attacking routes that we know. So far, he's been calm. He's been playing more positionally, strategically. And here we see the two contestants in front of us. And there we see our first glimpse of the day of Robert Gabriel Sava.
Robert Gabriel Sava, as we mentioned, candidate master from Romania. His classical and rapid rating are not that high, but when it comes to speed chess, his blitz is actually over 2,700 on chess.com, and his bullet is also over 2,700 on chess.com. So definitely a very experienced online chess player, and a lot more dangerous in these formats in there with his smile as well. He's in great spirits. This is probably the biggest game of his career and one of the toughest, if not the toughest opponents he has faced throughout his chess.
Yeah, I can guarantee it's the biggest game of his career. And you saw the nerves beforehand. He's just trying to keep himself calm. He's saying, you got this. You can do this. A draw would actually be a great result here for him as well as Black. But yeah, of course, a draw with Black against Daniel Dubov is a hard feat to achieve. So Anna, a Queen's Indian to start this game.
A Queen's Indian, indeed. Openings in chess have so many names. A lot of them are based on places or players. In this case, this is a very traditional opening, a very classical opening that has been around for a long time. But we see this early pawn push by Daniel, which is a pawn sacrifice, not a new idea, but it makes the position very dynamic. White gives up that pawn in order to free the central square for the knight, and that knight is ready to jump toward the black king with knight to f5 as well.
Yeah, this is quite an old line. Pawn sacrifices are Dubov's speciality, especially with white, and especially when he has fianchettoed his bishop. But yeah, this is very old stuff. I remember seeing annotated games from the 1980s in this, 1970s even, from this variation. But of course, modern computers have given more resources, defensive resources to Black, more attacking resources to white, and Dubov is happy to just play on a pawn down as if nothing happened. Anna, soon he will land his knight on f5, maybe now, and he's going to go for an attack.
It could be the moment when he decides to jump there with the knight. That's the square that he was giving up the pawn for, this knight maneuver, while Black's development on the queen side is still a bit harder. You see a lot of pieces crowded there in the top left corner of the board. The bishop comes out to f4. The knight jump is still in the air for white. Knight to f5 could be next.
Knight to f5 could indeed be next. I think the one move probably to avoid here is to capture in the center. That only allows white to make moves like that knight jump, and suddenly the tension between the queen and the other queen, the fact that the black queen is overworked defending the knight here, the bishop, I think Black's position just falls apart. So more likely you have to focus on development. One typical move would be to develop this knight to the edge of the board, but at least it supports its fellow knight, which in turn supports the pawn in the center, so kind of clinging everything together. But he moves his knight the other direction.
And it's a mistake, and Daniel Dubov senses it immediately. His expression changed radically when he saw this move. He does not see the evaluation bar, but his inner evaluation bar says, this is a mistake, and I'm going to try to capitalize immediately on this moment.
Oof. Yeah, that was the biggest giveaway ever. Just the fact that Dubov leaned forward, suddenly looked super interested in the position. He was looking very chilled before. But what is the knockout? Is there a knockout blow on the spot, or does white just continue with the attack by bringing the knight forward? It might be something to do with some exchanges in the center. Anna, Dubov is calculating. Is he going to find something to seize a decisive advantage?
He's calculating. You can tell that the engine is running very quickly, the processor of these variations, and which one is the killer sequence. The evaluation bar screaming that there is something, that there is a killer sequence, but it doesn't seem to be that obvious, at least not to me. David, do you know what's the right way for white to execute here the advantage. Oh, we see Daniel Dubov has figured it out already, and he is giving up the knight for a pawn. It's a knight sacrifice, but when the bishop takes, he's not ready to capture on d5 with the pawn. Once the bishop moves, you can continue pushing the pawn, and that's a fork, attacking both the knight and the bishop. Oh, goodness me, everything will be hanging.
Or everything's falling apart. That's just a temporary piece sacrifice. It's actually going to be a gain of material for Dubov. Black can't just give back a piece and survive. Black is losing much more than just a piece back. And that's just a knockout. Poor Sava. Opening disaster. One complacent move, one careless move, and it's just over like this. Dubov, he's the punisher. Anna, he is so ruthless. He sensed it. He beat me to it. I realized it was an option, but I was like, wait, there must be a way for Black to bail out. I checked the computer, and the computer said, totally winning, on the spot. Dubov finds it.
He found it immediately. He just made sure he ran through the calculations in his head and made sure that there is no defense here for Black. And it is the correct assessment. He knows it with his Grandmaster brain. For us, it's the engine too that supports that, yes, White's position is completely winning thanks to this temporary knight sacrifice. Now, Black has given back the knight. We see a trade on d5. This is equal material at the moment, but White is threatening to win material by capturing the bishop with a check, and then the c6 bishop would be loose.
Yeah, and not just that, but how else to defend? Okay, he does take the knight off. I was going to say also taking the bishop followed by the white bishop coming in, and it would have been skewering the black queen to a rook. Now there's a threat of taking that rook in the corner, which has just moved. But Dubov, can he amp up the pressure? Maybe just bring some rooks into the center of the board. Two bishops, and it's so open. Daniel Dubov, big advantage, but can he end it on the spot and win material? He goes in with his queen, lining up the pin.
He's lining up that pin, and how can you prevent that? The knight is jumping to c5 to attack the white queen, but the white can pick up the pawn on a7 and continue with the threats. The rook will be coming to the open fight to attack the black queen.
Yeah, one of the rooks, unclear which one it should be. You can make an argument for both rooks here. The black queen will be forced to sidestep, and white will save his dark squared bishop. He doesn't want to trade off that piece. That would be a way for black to get back into the game. So I'm expecting that bishop to maybe just retreat. There we go. And Sava's got to trade off pieces while he can. Two bishops as a pair, too strong. You need to remove at least one of them. And Sava's fighting, Anna. It's not over yet.
It's definitely not over yet, and kudos to Robert for finding some really important defensive moves here, even regardless of losing material. He's down a pawn, and he's up against a very experienced opponent. But this queen trade, at least according to the computer, wasn't the cleanest way. Knight jump now by Robert trying to counterattack. It's an extra pawn in an endgame for Daniel Dubov, and that diagonal for the bishop. Looking at the promotion square, that's going to be tough to stop the pawn.
Yeah, that's the dream duo, right? Like a bishop on the long diagonal and a passed a pawn promoting in the corner. Yeah, long term, short term, it's totally winning. Dubov is playing very, very cautiously, though. I thought he'd move his king to this square. He retreats his bishop off that diagonal we just praised. He wants to park his bishop on an outpost in front of the pawn. And he thinks that the extra pawn will do the hard work. If all the rooks come off, it's over. Bishop will beat knight, especially with that pawn. But can Sava create any counterplay while the rooks remain?
That's the main question here, yes. And I am surprised too about the cautious play by Daniel Dubov. But he says, you know what, I'm not going to allow any counter chances, and I will later very carefully and slowly start pushing my pass pawn.
Yeah, I'm very careful. And yeah, it's interesting seeing Dubov because like he's a tactician, attacker, but it feels like he's evolved into a more mature player, maybe taking less risk, just trying to control games, not giving his opponents any fun, any tactics. It feels like he's using his tactical vision himself, Anna, to neutralize his opponent's tricks rather than to create those kind of magical attacks that we're so used to seeing from him.
It really feels that way, and now he's gonna need to face the rook, the black rook, attacking his pawn on b2. If he pushes the pawn, that would be a very natural way to defend, but that will make it harder for you to push then the A pawn, since the B3 pawn will always be hanging.
Yeah, he slowed white down slightly, Sava. And there we see him push a pawn. I was surprised the computer only said +1 for white, because it looks completely winning. But now, after this last move, the eval bar rises again. I'm going to try and put myself in the mind of Daniel Dubov. I think he might just move his king, avoid any checks.
I think so. I feel like that was a move on his mind. He brings his rook instead, attacking the black rook. Maybe now he's going to move the king out of harm's way, and that's happening right now.
Exactly. You don't want to allow any checks, just in case. They probably didn't do much, but yeah, typical, especially speed chess wisdom. And Sava's trying to create some counterplay by creating a net around the white king, but still very slow, takes a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time, and Daniel Dubov also has more time on the clock in this game. So a healthy extra pawn in an endgame, more time as well. But kudos to Robert Gabriel Sava for the fighting spirit and finding some really important defensive resources to stay in the game.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, right? If he hadn't blundered just after the opening, or just allowed this tactic, the way he's played is so impressive. Maybe he would have been able to hold Dubov in another scenario, but unfortunately that early blunder, now the fact that one set of rooks are off and white's pawn is almost unstoppable, this should be a slow but inevitable end.
It is unfortunately the case for Robert that this endgame is incredibly difficult to play, and the evaluation bar screams winning advantage because of the extra pawn, the passed pawn, and now white slowly but surely advancing the pawn, first by activating the rook to target that f7 pawn that David is highlighting. That's a big target in black's camp. And once you tie down the black pieces to the defense on the king side and chase the knight away from c6, then you can start pushing your pawn, the passed pawn, and it's going to be extremely difficult to stay in the game from then on.
Yeah, the only way black can blockade is by putting his knight on the edge of the board, and sooner or later, maybe Dubov's going to offer a rook trade. There we go. I was going to say, this is going to be the scenario where the bishop totally cuts off this poor black knight. It's got 0 moves, and I wouldn't be surprised to see, yeah, there we go. Dubov just activate his king now. He's going to slowly creep over to this side of the board and then try to win that knight, break the blockade, and that should be game over.
That is so instructive, how the bishop is completely dominating the black knight that's stuck on the edge of the board. The black king is trying to chase the bishop away, but the bishop moves away by attacking the kingside pawn. The h5 pawn now is going to fall. If you push it, white, by capturing the pawn, will have a new passed pawn on the other side of the board.
Yeah, knights, it's so unfortunate, Anna. Knights struggle, especially against these corner pawns, the A and H pawns, because the knights have to sit passively, only controlling 4 squares instead of the normal 8, where they would in the center. The knights hate it. They ate it. These A and H pawns, nothing to do.
Nothing to do. The knight is a short-range piece, while the bishop has been first dominating on the queen side more so in the center, and now is off to the king side. That's a very key difference between bishops and knights, the short range and long range that they cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't help when half of your pawns or most of your pawns are on light squares, easy pickings, easy targets for that white bishop. And yeah, Sava here, not much to do. We didn't need to talk about the clock in this game because it was actually on the board that this was settled. He drops his king back. Dubov most likely just defends his pawn before mopping up black's pawns on the other flank. Let's see how he tries to finish this game as efficiently as possible.
That's exactly the move he plays to be ready to move the bishop away. Now the pawn has been sacrificed by pushing it to h4. 2 passed pawns for Daniel Dubov, both on the edge of the board, so the knight cannot make it to both.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and the bishop is hit, so he just needs to find a safe square. He retreats, and yeah, it's what they sometimes call the trousers, or the 2 legs of the trousers. One over on this side, one on the other side, and yeah, no way to contain those pawns. This is it, Anna. We're going to see Dubov clinch his spot in the top 4.
It really feels like so far a great form by Daniel Dubov. He is moving on to 5.5 points if he wins this game, and it looks like we are about to see a resignation by Robert. That pawn is unstoppable. Robert Gabriel Sava, candidate master from Romania, has done as best as he could, but at the end of the day, so far no one could stop Daniel Dubov, who is wrapping team spirit, and he's just one game away from making it to the playoffs of the last chance qualifier. So far, an incredible performance by Daniel Dubov.
Yeah, looking too strong, too sharp, tactical vision there. He's had one chance, he spotted it, jumped on it, and never allowed his opponent back in. And Dubov, he's just looked so patient, calm, collected. He looks confident that he's going to make it, and a peace of mind and just that kind of internal belief just helps you loosen up. It helps you play a bit quicker somehow, and yeah, it's all gone right for Dubov. I think a lot to learn from his play today.
A lot to learn, and for the rest of the players in the other groups and also in the main event, this is not good news. As you said, Daniel Dubov is a very dangerous player, even when it comes to facing the best of the best. He's not afraid of not even the defending champion of the Esports World Cup in chess, Magnus Carlsen. So it will be quite a feat for the audience and for us as well if Daniel Dubov will clinch one of those 5 qualification spots, and we will see him in the main event. This is still an if, because Dubov at the moment looking great in the group stage, but he will also need to do really well the day after tomorrow. This is a 3-day event, the last chance qualifier, that will be in the end a playoff between the 4 groups, 4 players qualifying from 4 groups, and then facing each other in a double elimination knockout format. It's more chess, more exciting formats, no increment, all the speed required, and lots of money at stake, David.
Exactly, lots on the line. And Dubov, although it looks like he's pretty much guaranteed top 4 now in the group stage, he will still want to win his last round, or at least play it out, because if you come top of this group, you do play someone who comes 4th in another group. So at least on paper, it should be a slightly easier pairing. So yeah, there's big things at stake. There's the huge money on the line. There's the team points. Team spirit will be wanting Dubov to do well, but also, yeah, taking it step by step, looking ahead. He'll want to do well in those knockouts, that bracket, and yeah, if he wins this final round, he'll guarantee himself a nicer pairing.
He'll definitely try that, and I'm really curious to see how the other games have ended. Actually, we are still waiting for some of the final games to finish in this penultimate round in Group B, and once we have the standings updated with all the results coming in, we will have a better idea on who are still the players with a chance to qualify to the playoffs of the last chance qualifier. This is going to be the final round in Group B. It has been such a thrilling day of chess, David. We first covered Group A, 7 rounds in Group A, 4 qualified players. Now Group B, the final round is coming up next, and tomorrow 2 more groups will also fight it out for those qualification spots to the playoffs.
Exactly. It's a bonanza of chess. It's a marathon for us watching. It's a marathon for the players. Anna, 14 is my lucky number. So 7 rounds earlier, 7 rounds today. It's the perfect amount of rapid chess. And yeah, it's going to be dramatic. I have a feeling the race for the top 4 isn't over yet. There might still be a twist or turn ahead.
Yeah, I'm really curious how it will be for the rest of the players, since you mentioned that even what we saw earlier, a round or 2 ago, that yes, the first 1 or 2 spots, it was like with a bit, at least a gap of half a point or then a point in comparison to 5th or 6th. But that was a big chasing pack from the 5th place downwards. And if you win in the final game, especially if you're paired against someone that's ahead of you, you can bounce in front of a player that's currently on 4th place, for instance. And only the top 4 places matter in the group stages. So it's gonna be really interesting to see the updated standings once the results are in and who else can still make it. Daniel Dubov looking great with his chances, but who else will make it from his group?
Ooh, I'm looking at. I know I shouldn't be peeking, Anna, into the future,
You
into the other
always
games.
do it, but tell us if you already have seen it, David. Share, please.
There's still a lot of games going, but Eric Hansen has won, which is good news for him. So a win in the final round, he might still make it. It looks like Luke Van Welly against Paham Magzulu is. I mean, it's a flag fest. Magzulu's trying to flag Van Welly, his older opponent, but it's a dead drawn position, like the most drawn position you'll ever see. And yeah, results elsewhere, it's very much in the balance. I think it's going to be very tight from places 3 down to maybe 6. There could still be a lot on the line.
An incredibly tight race indeed. We are going to take a short break, but when we are back, it is time for the final decisive round of Group B at the Last Chance qualifier. This is the Esports World Cup in Paris. This is the chess event that still has 5 qualification spots left for the main event that will feature $1.5 million as a prize fund and Magnus Carlsen as the defending champion. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes' time to cover the final decisive round today. Amazing. Welcome back, everyone, to the last chance qualifier at chess at the Esports World Cup in Paris. This is the final 3 days and final qualification spots left for the main event at chess that will feature a $1.5 million prize fund. Who will make it to the big field and who will be able to face the likes of Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, and Alireza Firouzja, among other top grandmasters who already have qualified? This is a huge player pool, over 100 participants in groups, and we are right now covering Group B with only one round to go. The situation is as follows. Daniil Dubov and Parham Maghsoodloo are in shared first place on 5.5 points each. Maxime Lagarde, the French grandmaster, is in third place, and then Eric Hansen and Luca Moroni both are on 4 points. Only the top 4 will advance from each group, so it's crucial for Eric and Luca to do very well in the final round. And guess what, David? They are facing each other in the final round, and that is our featured game for the final decisive round of Group B.
Wow, it couldn't have been more perfect. We couldn't have scripted it better. The two players in the danger zone, Eric Hansen, Luca Moroni. Yeah, it's going to be one of the two, and most likely they will want to go at each other. A draw, not necessarily enough. There's still a few players beneath them on 3.5 out of 6 who could catch them. Tie breaks then would play a role, and that would add a bit more randomness to it. They want their fate in their own hands. That's going to be fun to watch. But Dubov, Maghsoodloo are through. They're guaranteed top 4. Maxime Lagarde, the French grandmaster, should also be through, although will want to secure at least a draw to cement it. But yeah, I can't wait. This is going to be the perfect way to end the day, Anna.
Is going to be the perfect way, and what a tough group this has been. As you said at the start, David, you knew it. You saw the player list and you were like, woof, Group B, this is going to be a tough competition, and some of the grandmasters will have to miss out, including players like Luc van Wely, who had a good chance in his previous game against Parham Maghsoodloo, but ends up getting flagged, and that is part of the game. In speed chess, there is no increment, so even though the position on the board was equal, he had to, at the end of the day, continue playing until one of the players were gonna lose on time, and that's how Parham Maghsoodloo won at the end of the day in the previous round.
Yeah, my heart breaks for Luc van Wely. He's a member of a certain generation, former kind of real elite player. But Parham Maghsoodloo at some point had 40 seconds against Luc van Wely's 50 seconds, dead drawn endgame. But Maghsoodloo kept refusing a draw. He knew he's younger. He knew he was faster on the mouse. He flagged van Wely in the most dead drawn position ever. But a draw would have been enough for Parham anyway to go through. So he ruthlessly knocked his opponent out of contention, just for the sake of it, just for maybe a tiny bit of placing. He wants to get top spot in the group. That was merciless, Anna. That is something I would not associate normally with Parham Maghsoodloo, one of the nicest guys on the circuit. He really wanted that win.
He's definitely one of the nicest guys, but when it comes to competition and competitiveness, he needs those points because he wants to make sure that he will have the best chance to qualify to the main event as well. So not only he wants to qualify from his group, but he wants to qualify as the first place player. The seeding will matter in the playoffs, and this is what they are playing for. They want to earn their keys to the main event that is, again, an unheard of prize fund when it comes to chess events. $1.5 million is at stake at the main event in chess at the Esports World Cup in Paris. 5 players for our last chance qualifier will make it. This is what the next 3 days are about, today being day 1, and the final decisive round of Group B is about to start. Eric Hansen, Luca Moroni, 2 very strong grandmasters, but only one of them can make it through to the playoffs.
Only one, and which one will it be? Will it be Canadian Grandmaster Chess Bra Eric Hansen, or will it be that cool Italian customer Luca Moroni? And I think it helps Eric that he's going to have the white pieces. He's a much more dangerous customer with white, and he'll be able to choose the opening, dictate the play, hopefully get an advantage early doors. But the main thing we've seen from him multiple times today, Anna, is the speed. Just the fact that this situation is tense, there's so much on the line. it shouldn't slow him down. He needs to learn from past mistakes, use the clock a bit more practically.
He definitely needs to take better care of his time management, as we have seen 2 of his games heavily decided by the time factor, and he knows it. His whole lifetime he has known it. Time pressure, getting into time troubles, it's part of who he is, but in this game he's gonna have to go against that and try to play very speedy from the beginning, as if it was nearly a bullet game or at least a blitz game.
Ooh, and interesting from Luca Moroni here. He's saying to Eric, do you want an endgame? Do you want to get the queens off? Capture it in the center. The queen's coming off. That would lead to a very equal-looking position. And I don't think Eric will want to do that. He brings his knight out instead. Moroni trades off. So now back to more mainline territory. And yeah, this kind of Philidor defense does lead to quite imbalanced play. Eric just trying to fianchetto, trying to get his pieces. Bishop on the long diagonal. We've seen it so many times today, Anna, and he'll get castled next move.
Yes, we have seen that fianchetto and castling on the right side of the board, the king side castle. And with the black pieces, this knight jump is offering a knight trade. In case the white knight captures it, black will have that lovely square for his bishop. So it would be ideal for Eric to not trade the knights and keep the black pieces more passive, since they are really fighting for the same squares. It's a lot more crowded in there in black's position due to the lack of space.
Yeah. And that's why often white does end up even retreating the knight, just keeping it on the board, saying, okay, the more pieces remain, the more comfortable I'll be there. And instead, he leaps forward, Eric, after not too long a thought there, only burning around 30 seconds. That's a much more healthy use of the clock. He's saying, please take me, because yes, white's pawns get doubled, but the bishop is unleashed on the diagonal. What do you make of this, Anna?
I like it. I think that bishop is looking really dangerous on the long diagonal. Now that the black bishop is off of the board, no one can meet this light squared bishop of Erik Hansen that is covering the entire diagonal. Now the knight is jumping into the central square. I think he's playing in a very aggressive, dynamic way and wants to play for a win very clearly.
Yes, Eric wants this, a win, and he's guaranteed to go through. He knows it. He's got white. Okay, a bit of a timid move there. He's arguing that after an exchange, his queen or bishop will be well placed in the center. He has a great grip over the light squares. But long term, black has a slightly better pawn structure due to white's doubled f-pawns here. So we'll see. Still very early days, but I think great start for Eric. And for Luca Moroni to win this is, yeah, he's going to need a helping hand, it feels like, Anna. It's going to be hard for black to ever get the advantage. And for the scoreboard, he might need to win at some point.
Yes, that is the issue for Luca, since Erik is slightly ahead of him. They have the same amount of points, but at the moment, Erik Hansen's tiebreak score is a little bit higher than Luca Moroni's. Of course, the probability of this game going to a draw is pretty low, I would say, since both players will want to try to get something out of this game and put pressure on their opponents. They know that a win would guarantee the qualification. A draw, who knows?
Yeah, a draw, and suddenly the likes of Robert Gabriel Sava, who is totally winning already in the last round, he could catch them up. Suddenly his tiebreaks come into play. Luc Van Welly could be back in the race if he beats Malcolm Payne. Yeah, I think a draw suits neither of them. At some point, the game might explode, therefore. And 2 bishops, though, I'm very biased towards white's chances. I think the bishop pair, with the position being so open, gives white a good grip long term. The bishops on these 2 diagonals especially are going to be hard to stop.
They're going to be really difficult to stop, and this pawn push as well, taking further squares away from black and controlling the central e5 square too, where black's knight, for instance, could have been jumping to. It is still more space, better control of the space as well by white's pieces. And as you highlighted, the pair of bishops, that's a long-term factor. And once the bishop arrives on e3, putting pressure on the queen side, both bishops being snipers, long-range pieces that are on the right side of the board, but they see all the way to the very edge of the top left corner as well.
Exactly. They see till the end of the world. They see over the horizon, and they see everything, those bishops. If the queens and rooks come off, if it's just the bishops left, white is going to be a heavy, heavy favorite. So long-term, Erik Hansen's doing decently. Short-term, he has an issue to face. Okay, I was going to say, does he react? He doesn't. He just develops his bishop. There is a knight fork, a double attack, hitting the queen, hitting a pawn as well. But Erik's saying, okay, you grab that pawn. If the knight moves, though, once the queen saves itself, another pawn might drop. And maybe that's the more important one. After all, white does have, again, just like Dubov had earlier, an A-pawn promoting on the same color as the white light-squared bishop.
And that will be such a dangerous pawn, as we have seen it in other games. A side pass pawn that is far from the rest of the pieces. Luca Moroni, of course, will try his best to not drop the pawn on the queen side. He places his rook on the open 5, very logical move to activate his rook. He might want to double rooks to put pressure on the e-file, but Erik says, hey, I'm gonna match your rook now by retreating my bishop, and offers a rook trade.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. If the rooks come off, well, long-term, the bishops are going to dominate the board. There are also threats if the one set of rooks come off and the black rook is ever lured away, then the black knight is pretty much pinned on this diagonal. It can never move because there will be pawns hanging. Sooner or later, Anna, I think he's just trying to control himself and be patient, but Erik, surely he can't resist pushing forward, trying to dethrone that bishop, try to push forward, attack on the right flank.
I think he will push those pawns. It's looking so promising, and that is exactly what Erik Hansen does, the Canadian chess streamer, who definitely is one of the fan favorites thanks to his long-running chess streaming career with the chess bras that he himself started years ago before chess was popular. Luca Moroni, representing Italy, also a very strong grandmaster, now has to face this situation on the right side of the board. How is he going to stop Erik's pawns?
Well, I don't think he can. That's the issue. This pawn is almost guaranteed to land, kicking away the black bishop. You can stop it for one move. You can delay it, but white's got other pawns in reserve that will storm up the board. The problem is you don't really want to touch anything as black. The more pawns you touch, the more weaknesses you might have later for white to probe at. And yeah, I think he's just got to brace for impact. Maybe it's time, Anna, to try and bail out, get all the rooks off the board and say, okay, you can push your pawns forward, but at least with rooks gone, you won't be checkmating me.
I think that's a very practical idea here that probably Luca Moroni should follow, but he says instead pushing the g-pawn will give him some more space for the bishop to retreat to keep it on the long diagonal.
Oh, but what happens now if Erik just continues marching forward? Just cement the pawns as far up the board as possible, clamping down on space. Black is super cramped, can barely move. Moroni making some faces there. In must-win situation, this is a nightmare scenario for black. Like, so passive, one-way traffic. He's ahead. That's a sign, Anna, that he's feeling his position.
That is great news for Erik, who went down in 2 games earlier that we covered, both of them because of the time factor. So crucial for him that the time management is in his favor. He's ready to push his pawn. It's attacking now the bishop. The bishop retreats to the g7 square. White can follow up with further pawn pushes to box in that bishop.
Oh, so tempting. Not just boxing in the bishop, but locking a kind of mating net around the black king. So any checks long term will just be game over. I guess he's reluctant to do that because he has so many other tempting moves here, Erik Hansen. He could also trade pawns and at least say, no more double pawns for me. I've got a kingside pawn majority. Pawns will flood forward on that flank. But yeah, why not push forward? Surely control the dark squares with pawns, control the light squares with your bishop.
Very logical. He's taking his time to make this decision because it is a critical decision. The pawns, unfortunately for us chess players, they cannot go backwards. So it's quite a committal decision every time you move a pawn, but you need to be embracing this rule, the only piece that cannot go backwards in chess. So if he pushes, that means that pawn will forever stay there or continue further ahead. It looks very promising, but I think the only reason why he's taking so long is that then the pawn structure will be quite fixed, and it's going to be a lot harder to open up the position. I still love it though, because of all the factors you said, David, that it's that kind of mating net that it creates around the black king. If you could get rid of the bishop of black, that king will be hopeless with a pawn structure like that if the pawn is on f6.
Exactly. I think it's just a positional move as well as an attacking one. It kind of ticks all the boxes, stepping forward. Eric, commentator's curse, just as I praised him for his clock usage, he spent 2 minutes trying to debate whether to play the most natural move in the position. Most likely he's looking at what comes next. You're right, Anna. Like, he's got options. Does he want to commit? Does he want to lock it up? But the black bishop is going to be totally stuck on the back rank of the board. And yeah, I think it's just too tempting. Just got to play moves, push the pawn forward, maybe slowly start improving your bishop, improving your king, throw the rest of the pawn forward. It's slow and steady. It's still not winning on the spot, but Eric feels like he might be looking for that knockout blow. It doesn't exist yet. He still has to prepare it.
He still has to prepare it, and he's spending a long time on this. Unfortunately for him, this is what happened in the other 2 games where he got himself into troublesome territories, not on the board, but because of the time management. That's the only 2 times he lost in the group stage, and he ends up not pushing the pawn, but instead places the bishop on the edge of the board, threatening with a discovered attack in case the pawn were to move, but it also kind of self-pins that pawn, and he's counting on tactics in order to make sure that he can capture the pawn on g6 or push.
Yeah, very tricky tactical move. I like it. Totally different approach. Instead of long-term, just grabbing the squares, grabbing space, locking black up, he goes for the immediate tactics against the black king. Some ideas of pawn takes pawn, as you say, Anna, allowing the black queen to take the bishop and then continuing grabbing stuff with the white pawns. But can Luca Moroni find an antidote to this? Is there a way out? The move you want to play is to drop the knight back, attacking the white queen and taking this pawn. But I don't think that's quite working for black. So we'll see. Moroni needs to find something here. Otherwise, Eric's time investment on that last move, 2 minute 40, is going to pay off.
2 minute 40, that is a huge chunk of the 10 minutes that the players start with. But you are right, David, that if the position prevails here, and it looks like Luca Moroni did not find the best continuation, it wasn't easy to defend. He ends up taking on f5, logical move, but now the evaluation bar is increasing the advantage for white when it comes to the assessment of this move, and simply capturing on f5 looks very terrifying for the black king. Once you capture the pawn, the black queen is hanging, and the black king is really missing that g pawn as a defender.
Oh, Anna, I'm getting scared though for Eric Hansen's clock. He spent 30 seconds on the most obvious move, bishop takes pawn, attacking the queen. I don't think that's worth a 3-second investment, let alone a 30-second investment. And that could come back to haunt him. For Moroni, shaking his head, his position is just tough in general. If he could trade off that one last set of rooks, maybe he can survive. But for now, the black rook is going to be locked out of the game when the black queen retreats. And already Eric's going to be looking at direct knockouts. Are there bishop sacrifices to get all the pawns around the black king to break the shelter? Can he just bring his rook up later, attack some pawns? Does he get out of the way first? There we go, of a knight hit on the queen. And he's lining up. He's coming in. That looks strong.
That does look very strong, the queen bishop battery against the black king. And who can save the black king when most of black's pieces are on the left side of the board? There is no light squared bishop either for black, and no g pawn. This is all because of those last couple of moves. Luca Moroni is in trouble.
He really is. He's got time on his side. He's up around a minute on the clock, but that won't help him if he doesn't survive this immediate storm. At this point, I think the dream for black is to maybe lose a pawn, but get the queens off, just not get checkmated, prolong things as long as possible, hope that Eric gets nervous, deja vu with the clock ticking. But how to get the queens off, how to get anything off the board. The first move that comes to my mind is to bring the queen back. just to try and get the rook at least into the game. But yeah, it might come at the cost of some damage to his king. The king at least won't get checkmated immediately. He brings his knight back though. And Eric.
What this bishop sacrifice immediately played by Erik Hansen. He knew that this is the winning blow. Double exclamation mark. Brilliancy.
Brilliancy. Now the black king is literally stranded on the edge of the board. The knight is hit, but more importantly, it's just going to be a checkmate. The rook's going to slide up, across, boom. Anna, it looks like Eric's going to be the fourth player to make it out of this group.
Incredible. The Canadian Grandmaster fought so hard after having lost 2 games. It looked very slim, his chances for qualification. But now he's bouncing back, and oh boy, this final round game against Luca Moroni, who also is on 4 points. It's an absolute crushing attack. The piece sacrifice to bring the rook through to the h5. You cannot stop that rook. It's a rook lift through the 3rd rank. No pawns in front of the black king, and Luca Moroni knows it. You can tell from the expressions of the Italian Grandmaster that he sees this is curtains, game over. And then for Luca, it's goodbye from the qualification spots.
Yeah, he's running out of luck here with his king stranded like this. And yeah, he hasn't done much wrong, I should say. Luca Moroni, he's played a decent tournament, a decent game, but it just feels like his opponents have been very inspired against him. Eric, with this attack, showing that the clock is not going to be the decisive piece. He can end this in a variety of ways now. But yeah, Eric just on fire this whole game. Luca hasn't really had a chance. It's been so unlucky. And that's the same as well. Earlier in the tournament, it just felt like anyone who beat Luca just played fantastic games.
Yeah, it really has been a tough event for Luca Moroni, but still within this final game, he had his chances when it comes to the standings. But Erik Hansen, ruthless, going for the rook lift after the bishop sacrifice, and that black king is getting checkmated on the edge of the board.
Yeah, not much to do. The computer declares mate in 7. The eval bar's gone all white, M7. And I would be surprised if black's king can survive that long even. This is going to be a checkmate to end the game. No pawn shelter means no hope here for black. Pinned as well, doesn't help. And Luca Moroni reluctant to throw away his chances here at the Esports World Cup to get into the main event. But resignation might be the only way forward. 1 minute. Anna, it's pretty much over.
It is pretty much over. Luca Moroni, I think, is just making peace with the fact that this game did not go his way, and this is the end of the journey for him when it comes to fighting for the qualification spots. While for Erik Hansen, huge result and much needed win for the Canadian Grandmaster and streamer to make it. The king goes into the corner, rook check, the knight is trying to block. Luca Moroni is still fighting, he doesn't want to resign.
Oh, Eric can finish it off in style. Rook takes knight, followed by the bishop coming in. That's going to be checkmate in 4 moves. And Luca, there we go. He's going to let it play out. Game over.
It has been pre-moved by Luca. It feels like Erik Hansen with a much important win to qualify to the playoffs of the last chance qualifier. What an incredible attack that was, with the bishop sacrifice, brilliancy, and then the rook lift, the killer blow. It was the queen and the rook combo delivering checkmate.
Yeah, Eric ending on a high, saving the best till last. And I think most importantly, he learned his lesson from previous rounds where the clock really was his Achilles heel. He used a big chunk of time on one move, that bishop h3, Anna, but this time he used it wisely. He calculated ahead. He'd foreseen most of those final tactics, and yeah, just artistic the way he finished it.
It was a beautiful finish. We'll definitely have a replay of those final moments. It was a decisive game when it comes to the qualification spot. Both players were shared for 4th place, and it's only 4 players that qualify from the group stage to the playoffs of the last chance qualifier. So a huge result for Erik Hansen. He is through to the playoffs, while it is unfortunately a very bitter story for Luca Moroni, who is now without a chance to qualify. This was the final round in Group B, and we will have 4 players happy to make it through. One of them is Erik Hansen. Luca Moroni, unfortunately for him, is not.
Yeah, he's not in it. Unfortunately, he's not allowed to go and enter Group C suddenly tomorrow to try one last chance at the qualifier. But yeah, he tried the Italian Grandmaster. But yeah, just not enough. And Erik, ultimately, hard to argue that he didn't deserve it. He really found those clutch moments. He found the power when he needed it most. And yeah, I think that's true for all of the 4 qualifiers in Group A earlier. Qualifiers for Group B, they all had shaky moments in games, but they all came out fighting when they really needed to.
And this is what speed chess is about, and also the time control being 10 minutes with no increment. There is always the time pressure as well. The mouse skills matter so much, the flagging skills matter a lot, and the pressure, the stakes are incredibly high. I'm curious who will be the other 3 players to make it from Group B. We already know one of them is Daniel Dubov, and then also Parham Maksulu. So I guess if everything goes well, then we will have the same 4 players who were in the top 4 spots before the final round. That's what happened in Group A as well, that the 4 players heading into the final round stayed in the first 4 spots. Much deserved a qualification in both cases, I feel like. But we are waiting for those final results to be in the books, to be also updating our standings, making sure that those results are coming in correctly, and we need to see if there's any mouse slips or any big blunders, but no blunders on the top boards as Daniel Dubov wins Group B with an impressive 6.5 out of 7. Parham Maksulu takes 2nd place, and Maxime Lagarde and Erik Hansen on 5 points. Those are the 4 Grandmasters that will make it to the playoffs from Group B. Everyone else is eliminated.
Yeah, special shout out to Robert Gabriel Sava, just a candidate master, but we'll hear that name again for sure. Just missing the cut in 5th place. One of the underdog stories of the day, but not quite enough to make it. Jonathan Payne as well in 8th place, another of the non-Grandmasters to make it onto the first page, but ultimately top 4, all classy GMs. Maxime Lagarde, French Grandmaster with a lot of fans nearby for sure. And we'll be seeing those 4 again in a couple of days' time.
They will be back the day after tomorrow, and what a group this has been as we scroll through the remaining players as well. It is a huge fight in every single group. We have over 100 players competing in 4 groups in the group stages today and tomorrow. Tomorrow we will feature another 2 groups, and once we have the group stage concluded, we will see the playoffs between the top 4 finishers of each group. So it's a long road to the qualification spots, but it's a very valuable one. $1.5 million is at stake at the main event in chess at the Esports World Cup that will be held next week in Paris. That's where the last chance qualifier is taking place already. So the 5 players qualifying to the main event will be where they should be, where everything is happening. For 7 weeks, Paris is the main capital of the gaming world and of the esports world, with the biggest competitions taking place in the heart of the city. And this, for us chess players, I think is huge as well. The stakes, the prize fund, the club championship points. Team Falcons trying to defend their title this year and perform a hat-trick, but chess really is a significant game for them as well when it comes to the club championship points. And last year, Team Liquid got a very important 1,000 points thanks to the win of Magnus Carlsen in chess, and Hikaru only 750, with only still, I guess, a lot of points, but you need to perform well in every single game at the Esports World Cup, and chess was very crucial when it comes to the battle between Team Liquid and Team Falcons from last year. I'm so curious, David, how it will be this year. The Falcons are leading again, but there's still so much to play for.
Exactly. Still so many points on the line for the teams across many titles, many games. For chess, yeah, of course, Magnus starts as the favorite, but who knows? There's always going to be a changing of the guard eventually. Maybe this could be the year. But yeah, this is just the start, of course, of the chess, of all the action in Paris over the next week or two, as you say, Anna. And I can't wait. It's only going to get more and more fun. And for us, I mean, for everyone at home, I hope you've got your popcorn ready because there's going to be a lot of drama ahead.
It's going to be incredible to witness. Tomorrow, we will be back with 2 more groups from the Last Chance qualifier. And then the day after tomorrow, the playoffs, where all top qualifiers, so all 4 places from each group, will face off against each other in a knockout format. It's an absolutely thrilling competition, the Last Chance qualifier. Everyone wants to be at the main event, and we only have 5 remaining spots. The stakes are extremely high. $1.5 million in chess is a huge prize fund, pretty much unheard of. We wish there were more events like this where the stakes were this high and where grandmasters and the rest of the competitors, underdogs, international masters, Canadian masters, FIDE masters, or untitled players could get a bigger chunk of prizes like that, because they are so deserving it. They are working so hard for it. And tomorrow there will be another 60 or so players trying to qualify. So we will be back tomorrow at the same time, same place. Thank you so much for tuning in for the Last Chance qualifiers. David, it's always a pleasure to call the action with you, and shout out to our production team and everyone at the Esports World Cup for making everything so smooth. For all of you on YouTube, Twitch, or in person in Paris, we hope to see you tomorrow, same time, same place, for Group C and Group D of the Last Chance qualifiers.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
We were there. For every click, every clutch, every respawn. We were there for the years of grind. And we're here. Now. The proud founding partner of EWC. Powering the biggest event in gaming. Shoulder to shoulder with the world's best. Making history. Greatness deserves a stage. Lenovo Legion. Reach your impossible.